Too strong, too easy.
Love it.
Melbourne United, the benchmark. Oh, put back by Marcus Lee.
Melbourne United play at a platinum level standard.
Marcus Lee again.
That's what everyone in that organization expects.
Jack White gets loose. Jack White puts Melbourne back in front. Monday night hoops to heads to New Plymouth as the New Zealand Breakers take on Melbourne United. United, will they flash back to form with a last-second win against the Sydney Kings? How much is that going to roll over as the Breakers? It's a magic word, but it is still mathematically possible that they make the play-in and the final series. Damon Lowry, NBL legend, joins us as we look at the Mitsubishi Motors standings. From where the Breakers were early in the year, they have fallen right down to the bottom, but the window, even though it may be so small and maybe foggy, it's still open.
Yeah, it is. That Mitsubishi Motors ladder, as I've said before, is tighter than 7 beers in the 6-pack. But it's going to start to loosen up as the season goes on because teams are starting to buck heads a little bit. There will be some gaps formed. So New Zealand Breakers, they're still playing for pride right now. Even though they're technically a chance, they're still playing for pride.
Certainly a lot of pride on the line after the way that they started. Melbourne United, well, they have been in a tailspin, but they come up against a Breakers team that they've won 13 of their last 15 games against. They got it done in the death against Sydney. How much is that going to go to firing this group back up?
They needed that win. First of all, first and foremost, every win is important because they're putting pressure on the first place Illawarra Hawks, so they got to keep winning. But the way they won that game and dug it out on the road with the vintage back pick that you don't see a whole lot of these days, courtesy of who set that pick? Chris Goulding, because you can't leave him open. So Bull Quall hugged him too much, didn't switch, no communication. Jack White finishes for the win.
You would not want to be a Sydney King in the film room after that one. Another inbounds play that finally we got some success from. That man right there, Jack White, a career-high 23 points. When he gets to his best and he's aggressive, this United roster is very difficult to stop.
We both were surprised that his career high is only 23. Yeah, he broke bad last game, Walter White. We'll see if he can do it 2 games in a row, but he's an accumulator of points. We'll hit the open 3 ball, we'll get on the glass. We already know he's averaging 10 boards a game. He's always the best athlete on the floor, so it's just a matter if he can put it all together in one game.
This United team can be very, very dynamic when he's aggressive and he's playing well. Matt Mooney, now with the absence of Parker Jackson Cartwright for the New Zealand Breakers, he's got one more game in jail, and then he's back out there. He's been, not unbelievable, but he's been good enough. 20 points across his last 4.
Matt Mooney has been balling. He's missing his little running mate, PJC. He's averaging some good numbers. 20 points, he had 33 against the Hawks. That'll help him get his mojo back. As long as he can keep his blood pressure down, because the referees and some calls and non-calls have not been going his way, and he can get a little bit emotional. But if he can keep it together and stay on the floor, they have a chance.
A little bit. He has towed the line of an ejection over the last couple of games, and he needs to stay. The Breakers need to be a chance. He is right now carrying this ship, and he needs to stay in this game. But Menenga, he found form, was 0 of 9 before this game on a streak from the 3-point line, went 3 of 4 and did it on the inside as well. His confidence is a big thing for New Zealand.
100%. Sam has been struggling during this massive losing streak they've been on. His numbers have been down. His confidence has been down. But all it takes is one game sometimes. Even though they took that L in Wollongong, he still had a great game. 24 points, 9 of 12 from the field. Hopefully that can be the impetus, if you will, for a big game tonight.
And the Breakers, they certainly haven't been stacking it up in the win column, but plenty of these performances you got to read into. Even Illawarra, they fought back into that game, only ended up going down by 8 after a massive first half. But I'll tell you what, if we're talking New Zealand, then we're talking Casey Frank. Mate, welcome in.
Always a pleasure to return, even in the absence of Thomas Abercrombie, but I'll bring a little bit of war hype, much like Taco Fall brings. Looking at this game, it's all about the defense to me. The team that can step up defensively and hold that opposition down is going to have the better way, because during these rather poor patches they both discovered, they haven't found that ultimate level defensively. On the offensive end, look for both these teams who are towards the bottom of the competition in free throw rate to be a bit more aggressive getting to the cup to see if they can't manufacture a few points that way.
Well, Casey, I know what it's like for you New Zealand legends. I saw it in person in Auckland. Tom Abercrombie was kissing babies. You would have thought he was running for mayor in this city. So you go out and enjoy New Plymouth, and we'll talk to you shortly. The starters for the Breakers looking to bounce back. Mitch McCarron, Matthew Mooney, Karim Lopez, the next star superstar, Jonah Bolden and Sam Menenga. The New Zealand Breakers right now, Damon Lowry, they need a win and they need it quick.
100% they do. As we look at Melbourne United starting 5, Deli, Chris Goulding, Shea, Jack, and Robert Lowe. Figures, where's New Plymouth?
I think it's next to Old Plymouth. Hey, there we go. Hey, the man on screen right now, Shea Ili, 15 points away from 2,000 in his career, which is pretty good for a guy who I've been told is a role-playing defender.
Hey, you've been told wrong. His offensive game is definitely catching up with his defensive game, and he has to be respected everywhere on the floor when the ball's in his hands.
Shea Ili's been a force, and you look at the numbers when he's out of this United team, which he spent a majority of this season in, luckily for them. They are a much, much better group. Of course, 15 points away, as I mentioned, from 2,000 across his NBL career. But we are in New Plymouth, New Zealand, continuing their roadshow. They don't get as many games at Spark Arena, which maybe the playing group would want to establish themselves, but they certainly travel around the great country as we look to get underway. If you like niche stats, the opposition to New Zealand, the last 4 games have scored the opening bucket, so they'll go a long way to changing that one here on the first possession. Mooney harassed by Daly. Lopez can't handle the pass, and Daly will come up with it. Turns down the pass to White. CG 43 from outside, can't get the opener to fall, but Daly will fight and hustle for it, and that make that 5 games in a row. New Zealand give up the opening bucket.
Beautiful 25 seconds of play from Matthew Dellavedova. When you said harass, that is exactly what he's going to do to Matt Mooney all game.
Menenga gets into the paint, goes up, gets it taken away. Lopez will clean it up. Mooney from outside, he's been hot. Not so much that time, it's the side of the rim. Dellavedova finds Ili in the corner. That can't fall. 0 for 3 from the three-point line to start for both these teams.
And it's key that New Zealand get back on defensive transition, because that's what fuels Melbourne United's offense. When they get out, get stops, and get out running, that's when they're at their best.
Menenga goes inside, goes upstairs, and Jack White says no!
Don't tease us like that, Sam.
2 supreme athletes going head-to-head, mano a mano, and Jack White gets the better of him as Chris Goulding scoops it in.
And it's little plays like that. That's defensive transition. They miss a dunk, they come down and give up an easy layup. They got to put up more resistance than that.
Shea Ili pressuring Mooney again at the half-court line. McCarron navigating through the paint. Menenga. Another one at the rim, defended well by Rob Lowe. Lopez gets rid of Chris Goulding, uses the body and can't finish. Daly will come up with it. And the errant foul from the youngster who, you know what, in a couple of years, he probably won't be doing that.
No, we're not going to see him in a couple of years' time. Now, young Kareem Lopez, these are good rep minutes for him. The season's not going the way he probably thought it would go, but as a 17-year-old, this is what you want from him.
Oof. Now, Damon, I know you're a man who lives in reality and you never share everything. Was that a block or was that a missed dunk?
Missed dunk.
Ili, 2 minutes into the first term. Chris Goulding left way too open on the three-point line, and he makes him pay.
Way too open, all right. I mean, follow the scout, fellas. Chris not going to turn down any wide open 3 balls.
And Melbourne United off to a 7-0 start. Not the start the Breakers would have envisioned, having played a little better basketball, but Lopez gets him on the board.
Good to see the youngsters staying aggressive.
Ili fighting through. Goulding gets it again, can't convert. Mitch McCarron will yank it down and push the pace. Lopez gets Shea Ili. Works on him on the block. Shea Ili gets a hand to it. And Rob Lowe will take it off. Daly guarded by Lopez. Turns it over. Mooney has been the hot hand ever since PJC's been out of this team, and he gets the and one. And he'll be going to the line for 1 extra.
I'm loving this. Referees are letting them play, letting the big boys be physical. 2 good no calls, I thought. And right now, Matt Mooney, you just got to attack. You just got to attack, because Shea Ili and Matthew Dellavedova are going to make your life as much hell as possible.
Matt Mooney, his biggest task, and Petteri Koppinen spoke about it during the week. He needs to keep his head. Sometimes the calls aren't going to go your way, but he is so vital to this team, especially in the form that he's playing. If he happens to get thrown out of here, tough task and a tough way back for the Breakers. Can't complete the extra. New Zealand just stemming the rush from United. Ili spins in, pivots, gets up, can't complete, rattles out, and Lopez will pull it down. Next star, Euro step, gets it to McCarron, who says, hey, I can't dunk that one, I'm sorry, but I'll lay it in.
Kareem Lopez in transition, showing some point forward skills.
Getting better and better with time. Lopez, Jack White tips it in off a career-high 23 points against the Sydney Kings. And as we mentioned in the pre-game, this team is such a different dynamic beast, Melbourne United, when Jack White is aggressive to the rim. 10 seconds on the shot clock. McCarron finds Darling in the corner. Too strong. And New Zealand will keep it. Lopez for the headed-up play.
These are always danger games, too. I mean, you know, you got the second-place team playing the ninth-place team, and you feel like, yeah, we should win, but New Zealand got pride. They're all grown men, with the exception of Kareem Lopez.
Lopez, too easy. Melbourne United might have won the game against Sydney on an inbounds play, but they certainly gave that one up in similar fashion to what Sydney did. And a timeout to Melbourne United after a 7-0 start from Melbourne. The Breakers, never say die, as they have been for years, have fought back in.
And this is what Dean Vickerman's upset about. They've only been playing for 4 minutes, and they're giving up, even though they still winning 9-8. Some of those 8 points have been way too easy, and that's not playoff defense.
But one of the key players who's missed a bit of time this year, but when he's in, this is a much different team, and when he's on, they're a much different team. And Casey Frank caught up with the great man, Jonah Bolden, a little bit earlier.
Jonah, coming into this game, the Breakers a bit inconsistent offensively without Parker Jackson-Cartwright. One of the problems there has been a lack of ability to get into the free throw line. Has that been a focus for the Breakers to try and be a little bit more aggressive getting to the cup?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, the loss of Parker definitely takes points out of the game, and you know, it's allowed for other guys to kind of step up. And you know, we've emphasized, yes, getting downhill and getting to the line. Converting is another thing, but yeah, you know, just really filling the hole where we can. You know, Parker's a huge part of the system. You know, it's been an adjustment for some guys. Guys have stepped up, but yeah, as a collective, we've definitely emphasized getting to the free throw line.
I'll tell you what about Jonah Bolden, is all the talent that he has, he's just not aggressive enough. Now, that's okay. His personality might not be aggressive, but you got to play the role that's needed for the team. I don't need you to be aggressive after the game, but during the game, especially in the rut that they're in right now, Jonah's got to be aggressive. He's only played 3 minutes so far and got subbed out, and he has not troubled the statistician at all.
Certainly has it. Well, Casey Frank was doing his best foreign espionage down there, listening into the Melbourne United huddle.
Well, Dean Vickerman is looking for the Melbourne United to do a better job closing out. They're closing out and letting Daniels drive by on those closeouts to the three-point line. He wants to keep everybody in front, and he wants more speed on the offensive end. You saw the United come out and play with a little bit more pace. He thinks they're too slow down here. That time, Chris Goulding finishes that bit of space on offense with the triple.
Certainly does. That's 2 in the early going here for Chris. He's been a hot starter throughout the year. I don't have the stats right here, but you'd have to say first quarters, he's done some of his best work.
I'll tell you what, the definition of playing bad defense is when Chris just gets a wide open 3-ball. You just cannot lose the guy.
Matt Mooney can't complete the step back, but Lopez for the second time will fight for it on the offensive board. Goes up and gets a block by Marcus Lee. Six-point lead for Melbourne United halfway through the first. Daly can't complete, and McCarron will wrangle it in. Mooney finds Lopez on the outside. That's good.
The youngster with the triple.
7 points on the night so far for Kareem Lopez.
Only shooting 21% from down there.
Still amazingly, with another year to go in the NBL League. Great pass from Dellavedova. Turns it down for Bowen. The trebuchet from outside, and usually reserved for attacking a medieval village. This time it's worth 3.
And Kyle Bowen been shooting the lights out all season from downtown. 43% shooter. Forget what it looked like. It's all about the result, and he's been getting plenty of them.
Mooney, well defended by Lee in the paint. Looks to pull up, well defended again. Darling gets Daly out of his socks. Gets inside, uses the big body and gets it to go. Max Darling, a surprise packet for the Breakers. When he was announced in the starting lineup early in the season, a lot of people were quite shocked. But he certainly proved his worth throughout the year. Clark. Chris Goulding, another heavily contested 3. That's good. Danger signs for New Zealand and New Plymouth, because CG43 has his eye in.
I think it's bad defense if you even let him catch the ball. Like, what are you doing just standing next to him? As Mitch McCarron comes back and gets another deuce. But if you're guarding Chris Goulding, you're going to let him just catch it? He'll shoot it if he catches it.
You know what, Damon? Your best option is to prevent him from subbing into the game somehow. You slash the tires, you do something. As Ian Clark decides to have a go from the outside, and that's good as well.
Okay, now this guy right here, Ian Clark, consummate professional scorer from every level, coming off of a very low-scoring game last game. But I'm not an overreactor. I knew he was going to bounce back.
Good, strong move from Sam Menenga, picking up where he left off last game. Went through a real dry spell, as we mentioned pre-game. 0 of 9 from the three-point line, went 3 of 4 last time out. He's getting it done on the inside as Ian Clark draws the foul. We have a look at the Amy replay right now. Chris Goulding, you know, you find yourself amazed when you say it, but even that is too much room.
It's too much room. Same thing, like Max Darden just got caught with his hands down. These guys are prolific shot makers. You're there, but you're not there. When you think you're close, get closer.
The amazing thing in this one as well is no sighting of Taco Fall.
There he is.
And we finally get him out there into the game. He snuck in during the Amy replay. Very sneaky, Taco Fall. Very hard to miss as well. Goulding finds Bowen, and that's his... Taco sends it away!
Kyle, come on, man.
You got to bring it a little stronger than that, young fella.
Kyle Bowen. Wait till you see the replay of this one, Kyle. You got to change your mind. You get this situation. Right now, that is a bad decision.
That is bad for business. And Taco Fall, of course, coming off one of his tougher games so far in the NBL. Just the 5 points and 5 rebounds. The Illawarra Hawks, Dane, was there anything that jumped out to you? I know you were tuned in as the Hawks' biggest fan. Was there anything that jumped out to you in the way they defended him?
Yeah, he picked up some early fouls. He didn't get a whole lot of touches. 5 and 5. He only played the 15 minutes. Expect him way more of an impact. I'm sure Taco would have himself as well, but he's got to learn how to get himself more involved. Don't get 3-second calls, because every team is going to be screaming out 3 seconds.
They're certainly on the refs. You can see him appealing for it. Just working out how much time was on the shot clock there. They found it. Chris Goulding, the ultimate heat check. Unfortunately, the flame burns out on that one.
And Taco's lucky we don't have a defense of 3 seconds in this league, because he'd be in big trouble then. Melbourne United have played everybody just about. 10 guys hit the court first quarter. That's not unusual for a Dean Vickerman coach team.
Sean Bairstow into the game. Guarded by Flynn Cameron, who makes his first appearance. And Marcus Lee doing all he can to defend Taco Fall in the middle of the paint. Gets whistled for the call.
New Zealand do a great job of just bringing everybody high, leaving Taco down there by himself. And I've always said, if you can just make him a focal point, he will draw fouls without even taking shots. Just the way he committed to sealing in front of the rim.
And the refs just getting between. We see this time and time again because the inbounds play from the New Zealand Breakers. You can talk about your Greg Popoviches and your best coaches in the world. They keep it pretty simple. They say, big fella, you get there next to the rim and we're going to throw it upstairs.
That's all you got to do.
As we see here, they apply the same tactics. Taco gets it down low. Draws the foul. And he's going to go to the line for 2, which he has been remarkably inconsistent, but there are games where he gets on a bit of a roll from the free throw line.
A 54% free throw shooter, Taco Fall, as Marcus Lee goes and sits down. I mean, but when you're shooting a ball, when the ball is like a marble in your hands, it's got to be just biologically difficult, right, to even shoot it. But now Taco's going to draw a lot of fouls, and now it's Rob Lowe's turn.
There is certainly more challenges than us mere mortals have to face at the free throw line as Paul gets it in for the inbounds play, and sometimes it's just that easy.
I got an idea for a great play for New Zealand. Dribble down, throw it off their foot on the baseline so you can take it out of bounds.
It is a remarkable completion rate on that play. Illy. Errant pass to Rob Lowe, gets picked off by Jonah Bolden. Bairstow in transition. Decides to pull it up. Bolden cashes it.
There you go.
And the Breakers have hit the lead in a game that Melbourne United desperately want to win to get themselves back into form. New Zealand, they will not lay down. Illy finds Lowe. There's the advantage for Melbourne United playing Rob Lowe against Taco Fall. He's going to be open all night out there.
I was surprised Rob Lowe. Hello.
Darling works his way through the paint, and one for the big fella.
Did I see an inside-out crossover?
Tell you what, that's reminding me of an O-lineman pick six. The Ring forward just going all the way to the end zone, and I'll tell you what, we mentioned it. We mentioned it every Breakers game. But this guy's really had a coming out year.
Lieutenant Krabs was surprised himself that Max Darling had handles like that. But going back to the point about Jonah, Jonah's going to get wide open threes. Whoever Taco's guarding, Rob Lowe, don't roll. It's pick and pop all the time, and it's going to be shooting practice.
Can't complete the extra. 3-point lead to the Breakers, a little over a minute remaining in the first term. Rob Lowe open once again on the 3-point line. Flynn Cameron gets to the middle and cashes it. Flynn Cameron, a guy, will we see him in a United jersey next year? There's a lot of talk around about, is he going to get more opportunity elsewhere? Of course, with the loaded guard lineup that United roll with.
And with a young guy named Dash Daniels.
And another foul drawn on Taco for Melbourne United, just using working to be a little physical down there and get him off the block, and the refs have cottoned onto it.
If New Zealand Breakers are smart, and I'm sure they are, Peteri Koppinen is smart, he sees what's happening. They're going to run out of big guys. If Taco just walks into the front of the rim, like we don't see post-ups like this. No other team post-up is committed is what Taco does, because that's 99% of his game is predicated on being by the basket. So you have to have some foul discipline. You can't fight him all the time. And I feel like Taco has been getting the wrong end of the stick on a lot of calls this season. I feel like players been getting away with a lot of sleeper holes and full Nelsons and all kind of stuff.
It is often the case with a smaller defender can get away with a little bit more. And when there's that much height difference, I'm sure that it'll be frustrating at times for the big fella, but it is a unique operation as he can't complete from the free throw line. Melbourne United will take it the other way. It's a unique operation for teams coming in to defend against a guy at 7'6", and it's a unique operation for New Zealand and Peteri Koppinen to work out. I think you put a best game on overtime one week when you said there's 3 different teams, as Illy gets in and draws the foul on the big fella. Peteri Koppinen throughout the year has had to play, he's had to coach 3 different teams.
He's had a team with Parker Jackson Cartwright and Freddie Gillespie. Then he had a team without Freddie Gillespie and Taco Fall. And then his third team is this current team without PJC. And Shea Illy hit Taco with a nice inside out. All you point guards out there, that's a good way to attack a big is playing in a drop defense. If you hit him with the inside out, they always commit to the middle for some reason. Opens up a driving lane. Great job by Shea.
Straight through the chest is sometimes the only way to go when they get him that big. Illy converts. Melbourne United wrestle back a 1-point lead. Bairstow. Just some technical errors with the clock right now. 35 seconds left on the game clock. 11 on the shot clock as Taco Fall. Too big, too strong, and too close to the rim.
Yeah, the Learjet ain't never had to guard anybody like that before. And the Melbourne United want to speed this tempo up.
Well, United still want the 2-for-1 here because there's around 30 seconds on the shot clock. Looking for it. 15 seconds remain. Shea Illy up top. 10 seconds guarded by Mooney. Shakes back. Mooney gets a paw to it. Jack White will come up with it. Illy. White. Can't complete, and that'll draw the first quarter to a close. A wrestling up and back affair. 26-25. The New Zealand Breakers lead this one. Plenty more action coming up next. Monday Night Hoops is delivering in New Plymouth. Mitch McCarron, he can't go quite upstairs, but it was enough for the Breakers to have a 1-point lead at quarter time. Melbourne United, but when they keep teams below 90 points, they've won their last 8, but the Breakers just looking to surpass and keep their season, even if the slimmest of hopes, keep their NBL25 season alive. Casey Frank was just tuned in. He might have even jumped right into the New Zealand Breakers huddle there at quarter time.
Well, they allowed me to get pretty close, Felix, and in that one, what I heard was that the Breakers are happy with the offense. Great efficiency, shooting 63% in the quarter, but his number one concern was defense. He wants his players to stay attached and be very aware who they're guarding. They need to stay out there on those threes after giving up 5 in that opening quarter.
3 of those to Chris Goulding, who caught fire in the early going in that one. Taco Fall with a mismatch down low.
Nobody's moving.
Wrestled away.
Nobody's moving. Like, look, Taco's already drawn 2 fouls on Rob Lowe, 2 fouls on Marcus Lee. He's going to get double teamed. Poor old Catch Lear, he's got to fight him. And now everybody's just watching Taco. Jonah's got to dive. Somebody's got to dive to the basket. There's a layup waiting for you.
A Ketchalia task with Taco Fall on the inbounds play that has been the death of a lot of teams. No one has yet really worked out a way to stop it.
Listen, stop fouling him. Just, you're not going to block his shot. Give up the dunk and then go down on the other end. You got to speed up the tempo.
Well, the player we've affectionately nicknamed the Learjet in a Ketchalia is certainly out there because he's got some fouls that he's able to burn. So clearly, United have said to themselves, we'd rather send Taco to the free throw line in some of these situations than we would have him catch it right at the rim.
And now the Learjet's got to go sit down. Look like he got some claret on his singlet. Who's left over there that's over 6'6"? You're not going to win a physical battle with Taco. He's just too big. You just got to not foul him and just compound the problems. So Rob Lowe's on 2. He's got to be extra careful.
And that's a difficult proposition with Taco Fall. Even if sometimes he may not fill up the stat sheet and have an off night, he's still a giant presence in the middle and such a unique thing to have in the NBL in the modern day style of basketball today and how it's played.
They're trying to find a bleeder.
We got a bleeder. We got a bleeder.
Do you want to call a timeout to clean the blood up? There's 4 guys. Okay, we need a sub. Come on, let's go.
So Jonah Bolden, his accusations flying. The blood is coming from Jonah Bolden. Taco Fall just either looking for a mosquito bite there or...
Jonah's bleeding on his...
And we have located it through the ref mic. It is Jonah Bolden who is guilty of spreading what you just referred to it as clarinet.
Claret.
Claret? Where would that come from, Dave?
Some type of wine or something.
And there we go, Jonah Bolden being removed.
I'll be running to the locker room. Hurry up, Jonah, hurry up, man. He just hit the last 3-pointer. Cruising to the locker room.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Delhi, of course, trying to argue he did it on purpose. Mooney to inbound. Bairstow, Melbourne United just switched into a zone.
Yeah.
Clearly finding a way to contain Taco on the inside and prevent these outside shots as Bairstow fades away. And another whistle here. It looks like it'll go. We know Rob Lowe's never afraid to link up arms and get in a bit of a tussle there. And it's going to go the way of the New Zealand Breakers. Taco right now is a foul magnet. Rob Lowe wants this one reviewed. It'll be interesting to see how much trust Dean Vickerman has in him.
Rob pulled him down. Rob, and he ain't the first guy Rob Lowe pulled down either. You're not winning a physical battle. I don't know why you keep trying to fight with Taco. You got to do your damage on the other end. He's too he's too big.
He's certainly drawing fouls in Melbourne United. Look, they don't seem scared to burn him up.
And he single-handedly made Melbourne United go to a zone. And trivia, when the last time you seen a Dean Vickerman team play?
And here we go, the greatest inbounds play on earth. Hits again. And Taco Fall's going to go to the line for 2, and Melbourne United just bleeding at the free throw line.
Like trying to guard Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s.
3rd foul in the quarter. Less than a minute in.
If this game stays a half-court grind like this, you got to back New Zealand, don't you? Taco's not in foul trouble. Melbourne United going to run out of bodies. And he's eventually going to shoot those marbles. He's going to start making some of them.
Taco Fall, as we said, he's had some games this year where he has just been a little bit more consistent. He's had some games where he's gone over from the free throw line, but he's had some games where he's been able to pile a few together. Can't get it to go. And right now, from what we've seen in the early going, Damon, I'm not sure this is going to be one of those nights from the stripe. Krebs looks baseline, fades away. Can't get it to fall, and Taco will rip it down.
And now Marcus Lee is back out there with his 2 fouls.
Taco Fall has drawn 8 fouls already in the game. As Mooney draws yet another on United. That'll be their 4th. 1 away from the bonus, 8 minutes for 45 to play.
Just a cheat code, a 7'6" cheat code. Melbourne United should just full court press, see if they can just wear him down, get him tired.
Antisevich gets into the paint, kicks it back out. Taco Fall, he's been the focal point. Finds McCarron on the outside. Can't convert with that. Jack White will rein it in. Lee on the break, can't complete. Found a flat tire, and Taco Fall was taking a nap in the middle of the court. Mooney works off the Fall on ball. Gets deep into the paint, far too easy. It'll be blocked away at the last moment, but he'll go to the stripe.
It was easy because Taco Fall went down there and sealed. Kept Marcus Lee on his back. Opened up the driving lane for Mooney. And Mitch McCarron, don't worry about that, Mitch. You're gonna get plenty more open looks because they have to double Taco. He will pass the ball. But I wouldn't double him, Felix, until he dribbles it. Because he see you coming a mile away. Now all Perry Copeland got to do is just put some shooters out there. So he bring Sam Aninga back in. And if Jonah hurry up and come out of the locker room.
4 fouls on Marcus Lee. For 2 of the worst free throw shooting teams in the league, Damon, this is a dangerous proposition that we could be having a lot of free throws as this one goes on.
Well, that's what our man Casey Frank was talking about. Breakers making a concerted effort to go inside, get themselves to the foul line. That's how you can control the tempo.
Marcus Lee, remarkable. 4 fouls at the moment, and it all has surrounded around United finding a way to guard Taco Fall down low as we go down courtside to Casey Frank.
Well, the Melbourne United were pretty upset about the free throws from Matt Mooney there, saying that Marcus Lee got called for a foul on Taco Fall, who should have been shooting. Instead, it was Mooney hitting those and extending this breaker lead.
Certainly someone you'd rather at the free throw line is Taco, as Krebs can't complete. Melbourne United get to trouble the scorers in this second term, and Aaliyah puts a stop to that with a 2.
Great job by Lear making something out of nothing, just going to clean the glass. Now the Taco's on the bench. And I'm telling you, if I'm Perry Copeland, Taco will not be on the bench much longer.
It's a Tangerine timeout. Taco Fall just drawing foul after foul down there. Man, we may sound like a broken record continuing to go on about it, but right now it's the story of the game. Are Melbourne United going to continue Damon Lowry to fall into foul trouble and not have many players left? Or are they going to find a way outside of that to guard him? As we listen to Perry Copeland.
Listen, 1 possession, 1. Then you need weak side. When you are 1, we need weak side. When we are switching less, you are responsible for this guy. When we are in defense 3. Only if we have mismatch and we call red, it's different. Hey, let's go. Let's go nose. If they are with Amir, we go nose for Sam.
When the ball comes out of the trap,
Pettery, man, he's not going to win Coach of the Year, but he get at least 1 coaching vote from me on what he's had to navigate his way through this season.
Certainly had to endure a lot. Parker Jackson Cartwright serving his final game of a 5-game suspension for making contact with an official, which Damon Lowry, Penny, for your thoughts on the matter, it certainly felt like a bit of an easy 5 games, all things considered, was a bit of a light punishment.
Yeah, we don't want to live in the past, though, Felix. You know.
still got your base.
Man serving his time, paying off his debt to society. He'll be back. And then the break's going to have to readjust again because they just went 5 games trying to find a certain kind of a flow. And then Parker comes back, they're going to have to modify it again.
Mitch McCarron harassed by Krebs. Mooney. Menenga takes a Lear baseline, uses his body, gets him up in the air and gets it to fall.
Thank you, Sam Meninga. That is the aggressive, big Sam Meninga I've been waiting to see. He showed glimpses of it. He's bigger and stronger than the catcher Lear. Glad he went down there to the body shop and did some work.
4 points for Sam Meninga coming off a hot game last time out. Delhi. Great pass to Aliir. He gets his second attempt at it from down low and gets it to go on the offensive board.
Great pass, a way not to give up on your miss. Aliir is very active around the basket.
Mooney yet to really get going for the Breakers. He's been the focal point of their offense over the last 4 games with Parker Jackson-Cartwright serving that suspension. And once again, the Breakers go to Meninga, who gets into the paint, gets Jack White up. Can't finish it. And Goulding will tip it to his backcourt partner in Dellavedova.
Oh, Jack White ain't gonna let you get it easy, but it's good to see Sam still having to go.
Goulding still just 3 triples. Hasn't been able to add to his tally this quarter after a hot start. McCarron works off the Meninga on ball. Kicks it back. 3 for 4 last game. Can't get that to go, and Aliir will track it down. And Chris Goulding just cops an errant elbow on the rebound. Krebs pushes it inside, finds White outside. Can't count it.
Melbourne United 5 of 14 from downtown. 35%.
Meninga finds Antosevic, who swings it to Mooney. That one's no good, and the scoring of the first quarter has dried up. Delhi pulls up. Another one doesn't connect from deep.
Correction, 5 of 15 from downtown, 33%. Where's the offense going to come from Melbourne United? I'm sure D don't want to see him spraying up threes every time down the floor.
2 for 7 for the Breakers. They've been doing their damage on the inside just like that.
Way to wheel off of him, Sam. Post work. Love to see it.
6 points on the game from Sam Meninga, and he's proving a problem on the low block.
Oh,
Chris Goulding gets another one to go. That's his 4th.
Oh,
We're
Kareem.
tied at 32 apiece halfway through the second quarter.
Kareem Lopez, don't you ever go under a screen from Chris Goulding.
Was that the Black Eyed Peas?
I think it might have been Outcast.
Outcast, also known as Outcast. Commonly mixed up. So fresh hits of the 2000s. Mooney pulls up from deep. Shot clock winding down. And Kareem Lopez, he sinned on one end and he returned it on the other.
Way to make up for it. Dean Vickerman be ready to pull his hair out, giving up offensive rebounds that easy.
Dellavedova, in a game that has been riddled by outside shots, he brings the old school mid-range to play. Seesawing affair as we have a look at the Amy replay. I know exactly where this one's headed. It's heading upstairs because Sam Meninga is loving that matchup on the block.
That post in, this right here, that's just, I mean, hey, look, you know, you're 17, but come on, man. No, Kareem, scout report. Greatest shooter in Australia.
Well, Shea Ili is marching his way to 2,000 points, and the great Casey Frank caught up with him earlier.
In the half court with Taco in there, it does change things a little bit when you're attacking the paint. Does having a player with that shot blocking ability and that size change the game plan for the United, or is it business as usual?
Yeah, we've got to, find ways to get our shooters open, and he sits in a drop, so we should try be able to get CG and IC open with the 3 balls and, just easy screens at the top. But yeah, we're going to look to attack him as well, and yeah, really attack him in that pace section.
And just finally returning to New Zealand here in Taranaki, not exactly hometown, but what's it like to return to New Zealand, leading Melbourne United for many a season now?
Yeah, it's always good to come back to New Zealand. Playing familiar gyms that I've played in throughout the past, and yeah, my family are coming down, so I get to see them as well. And yeah, go back to Auckland tomorrow to hang out with them as well. So it's good to be here.
Well, Melbourne United with a big New Zealand presence. You look at Shea Ili, Rob Lowe, Dean Vickerman himself, of course, having roots in New Zealand. And, of course, Flynn Cameron as we go courtside to yet another New Zealand legend, Casey Frank.
Well, you had the Breakers huddle was a bit of a disagreement there between Matt Mooney and Mitch McCarron. Most of that huddle was spent talking to those two, trying to calm it down. So coming out of that, looking for the Breakers to get a little bit more offensive with Taco Fall in the post.
Max Darling can't complete that, but I'll tell you what, hey, Matt Mooney, we've seen, he's a hothead. Mitch McCarron usually a little bit more reserved, so to get a rise out of McCarron, you've got to do a little bit.
Max Darling, he's shooting threes when Kyle Bowen is guarding Taco Fall. You better make it.
That one rattles out for Chris Goulding. A little over 4 minutes remain in what's been a seesawing affair currently as Taco Fall has just copped in. And Eric Knock, and he's gone down. Melbourne United have been incredibly physical. 8 fouls drawn so far for Taco Fall. And it'll be interesting as we head to the replay here to just see whether there was anything untoward. He's appeared to have copped one just in the underside, which...
First of all, he shouldn't be setting the ball screen for Max Darling. That's the first thing. And Kyle didn't really do anything. That's just one of those innocuous-looking injuries.
We hope everything's all right with Taco Fall. You never want to...
He's all right. We already talking about it too much. Just throw the ball inside. He's got Kyle Bowen guarding him.
You were raised in a bygone era, Damon. The world has changed, and my concerns are with the physical well-being of Taco Fall. Back in the day, they would have said whack a Band-Aid on it, but we do not do that these days. Welfare first and foremost. It's Jonah Bolden loads one up from outside. Can't complete. Ian Clark will trap it in.
Just because Melbourne United are packing in this zone because they got one of the smallest fives on the floor, you can still penetrate. Doesn't have to go to Taco. Somebody else can put the ball on the floor and attack the basket. They're just living and dying by the three-point line.
Clark goes up, gets it up over the big fella. A nice feathery finish. Bairstow. Fall with a big mismatch on Kyle Bowen down low. United calling for the 3 seconds. They're not going to get it, but they're going to tip it away anyway. Ian Clark guarded in transition by Max Darling, who's done a good job there and corralled him out of bounds.
This is such a junky game of basketball, and it's junky because nobody's ever played against a guy like Taco. So defensively, you got to junk it up. Something that Dean has never had to do in his entire coaching career. Offensively, you got to kind of junk it up and make up stuff on the fly.
Chris Goulding leading all scorers with 12. Bairstow showing no respect on the three-point line from Chris Goulding. And Taco's doubled. Ball wrestles out. He finds it again. Turns back to the middle, and that's all too easy. And don't the fans of New Plymouth love it with their little Hungry Jack's crowns? Jack White can't answer back. Taco can't corral it in, and Ian Clark will get a chance, and that's no good.
And again,
0 for 2 on the possession from Ian Clark, and Melbourne United right now outside of Chris Goulding can't find the car park from outside.
Yeah, Chris is 4 of 8 from downtown. The rest of the team is 2 for 12 as we see Taco just fight his way through a double team. And this is a challenge for the Breakers. You get so Taco-centric, you try to just do everything because he's 7-11. He's always open. But if everybody just stands there and just watches, the other 4 guys forget to play basketball.
That is the problem. Unique proposition, and right now for the Breakers, it's working. Taco Fall with the 7 points so far, and it's mostly the fouls that he's been able to draw even off the ball. It has quite a few United players in foul trouble. Marcus Lee, who's such a pivotal part of this offense and this defense for United, is out of the game, and we probably won't see him for a long time, sitting there with 4 fouls.
Last time New Zealand played Melbourne United smacked them around by 27. Taco was not on the team. This is a completely different proposition, and Taco's free throw shooting percentage is falling rapidly.
Certainly is 7'6", and we're sitting in an aircraft hangar. It is an interesting proposition. Goulding turns down the flex screen outside. Illy. Bowen, the trebuchet. Can't get that to complete. He's 1 for 2 on the game. Mooney finds Bolden on the block. Doubled. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Mitch McCarron sizes up CG 43, spins back, fades. Can't complete, but he'll draw the foul, which has been the story of the game.
I just saw Jonah Bolden on the box posting up. I love to see that. You don't see a whole lot of that from Jonah. They got the size advantage in a massive way. It would be silly of them to just cast away a bunch of threes. Different if the ball goes inside first and get double teamed, then you kick it out for a 3. That's fine. Right now, the Breakers are 2 of 10 from three-point line, and Melbourne United are 6 for 21.
I'd like to see a little bit of Sam Menenga down there in the block. We saw him go upstairs when he's matched up with Aaliyah down low. He's going to get a similar proposition there with Kyle Bowen. Mitch McCarron, a seasoned veteran. We heard Casey Frank say before there was a little riled up in the timeout after going head-to-head with Matt Mooney. Illy, 2-point lead to the Breakers, a little under 2 minutes in this first half. Melbourne United in no rush. Nice little step back, gets it to rattle in.
I'm surprised Ian Clark's off the floor. I mean, all the scoring is going to come from the backcourt. Shea Illy, Ian Clark, Chris Goulding. Haven't seen a whole lot of Delhi lately, but that's where their scoring is going to come from. Jack White's going to have to try to find a way to get himself involved. As Mitch McCarron.
Mitch McCarron breaks the drought from outside. He's come into this second quarter a little bit more aggressive than we've usually seen him, especially with Parker Jackson-Cartwright, of course, out of the team. Next man up for New Zealand.
And just to let you know that sometimes numbers lie. Mitch McCarron shooting 14% from downtown, but you shoot him with confidence. He's 100% right now.
You show me his numbers in New Plymouth. Mitch McCarron knocking it down from outside. It's been a seesaw affair. 3-point lead to the New Zealand Breakers right now. And Melbourne United, Dean Vickerman won't be happy. They've been in a tailspin for a while now, and they've been looking to come out for it. And the New Zealand Breakers, we've mentioned that there is a mathematical window for them to make the play-in, but it's also out of their control. So Melbourne United with a lot more to play for in this game.
That window is cracked, it's way too high for them. They're not crawling through that window, but how come the Melbourne United cannot score? What is the deal? 38 points with a minute to go in the half? How come this team, obviously they bigs are in foul trouble, but are we overrating their talent, their scoring talent? That same talent is a great defensive unit, but on the offensive end, they're just not generating points.
Certainly very reliant on Chris Goulding from the outside to pull them out of these scoring ruts, and of course he's leading them right now with the 12 points, but you're right, there is a smarter man than me in charge, and that's Dean Vickerman, and there's probably no doubt that at some point here they are going to turn this around. They're still sitting, as much as we talk doom and gloom for Melbourne United, they're sitting 1 win off Illawarra. Of course, 2 more losses in the column, but the season is still by far a success for this group for Melbourne, but they need to pull themselves out of this rut. They need to pull themselves out of it soon. The New Zealand Breakers showing fantastic fight. Illy crosses back in there, gets into the paint, can't get the floater to fall. Menenga will rip it down. .50 seconds remain in the first half. Menenga spins back, gets the mismatch with Chris Goulding, fades out, but he'll still draw the foul.
That's smart basketball. Sam could have shot that 3 ball. He's like, why? When I got Chris Goulding on me, I'm just going to keep going to the basket because I'm bigger than him. Gets himself back to the foul line. Tempo is 100% in New Zealand's favor. A methodical style of basketball.
Sam Menenga just so tough when he's taking his way to the basket because he's got a good handle on him as well. He's not your classic big. He can handle the rock, and it appears that the refs might have just noticed that there's been a little bit of a clock error. That clock stopped at 13 seconds on the shot clock a little earlier. As we give them a moment to just fix this one up.
How does Jack White?
Yes, he does.
How does Jack White?
There we go. There's the Ghastardly
get involved? He's got 4 shots, Felix. Jack White, I mean, he doesn't post up. He's not going to beat you off the dribble. He's going to get his buckets, and he can get a lot of them in transition and in, you know, lobs and things like that. But in a half-court slow-down grind, how does Jack White get buckets?
Well, you know what I say? I say you get him on the elbow and you let him go one-on-one. A lot of people always say Jack White is a more recipient-type player. He needs to be facilitated for. We've seen it a couple of times. Just like Sam Menenga has taken it hard at the paint here, there is no world in which Jack White cannot do the same thing down the other end. Now, Melbourne United don't look to him to do that as much because they've got some offensive threats, of course, on the outside. They are very guard-heavy in their offense, but you can't help but think Jack White from the elbow is a dangerous proposition for any defender.
Well, he needs to step into that world.
Billy pushes. We've still had no time go off the clock. So we apologise for the technical difficulties happening down there on the ground in New Plymouth.
Breakers will be absolutely kicking themselves. They are 5 of 14 from the foul line. 9 points left on the table in a low-scoring game. They can easily have a double-digit lead right now.
We mentioned two of the worst of free throw shooting teams in the league coming to this one. Taco Fall, of course, still looks all right from a little innocuous bump
That we won't talk about.
earlier on. We won't, Damon, because we're looking after the welfare. But of course, coming up tonight, the Adelaide 36ers with one of the worst losses of the season to an incredibly undermanned Tasmania, whose credit to them, they fought and fought and fought and got that win. Coming up against the top of the table Illawarra Hawks, that is a mouth-watering clash. You can keep your backhands and your forehands, Damon Lowry. Leave that out there. That's where I'm tuning.
Okay, maybe that's my bad.
Well, let's go courtside to just get a little bit of an understanding of what's going on at the moment, Casey Frank.
Well, the possession is going to reset Felix. Apparently the clock did not start, so the possession did not occur. No foul in the front court. Back to Melbourne ball to inbound.
Casey, is there a city anywhere in New Zealand where there's not clock issues?
Hey, come on now. I'm sure there's a gym in Australia that might be 1 or 2 clock issues going on over there. But occasionally, the technology and the fiber doesn't get down to New Plymouth. It's down in the center of the North Island here. It gets difficult.
Casey, basketball-wise, the tempo, how do you like it?
Well, I think it's pretty impressive for the Breakers. Coming into this game, they've got the slowest pace in the competition. Nobody played a slower game than them, but they found a way for the first time this season, really, to include Taco Fall in the half court and still get some pace in the full court, pushing that, especially against the Melbourne team, who coming in had been playing the fastest pace in the competition. So they've got caught up to their speed, but they've been playing well with it.
Casey, as we just see, we're getting footage now of the wires and the electricians going to work on this one. We hope it's not just an on-off switch, reset it sort of situation. But what's the energy like in the building? Of course, the Breakers, I was there in Auckland, and it was good. It was live. The crowd was engaged. Even in the timeouts, they do a great job in the game day entertainment, the Breakers. But the sort of morale felt really high considering the downfall of the Breakers in this back end of the year. What's it like over there?
Well, we've heard a lot of talk about the Breakers and these games at home, away from home, and how it's difficult on the players. But what we're seeing right now is a really fired-up crowd. They don't get to see the Breakers very often. This is a second season, a couple seasons in a row where they've had them come through. And they're fired up to have them here. It's a full house. They were packed outside. The parking lot was packed 2 hours before. And as much as the Breakers winning, they're excited to see Taco Fall in person. Every time he touches the ball, there's essentially a gasp from the crowd. And they're certainly getting their money's worth in the Taco experience.
Well, and you, in Nostradamus fashion, you said to us, I believe it might have been off air before we went to air, that both of these teams, the worst free throw shooting teams, and we appear to have got ourselves in a situation where there's a whole lot of free throws. What are the fans thinking of that down there?
Well, they don't mind the free throws as long as the Breakers come into the line, and 14 attempts for the Breakers in this first one is just about at their season average. So considering the fact that they haven't been able to make them, to still be up, it puts them in pretty good stead. For the United, I'm a little bit surprised they haven't gone to the line more. 2 for 2 from the line, but so far it seems that the players' decision on how to attack Taco in the paint is to fling it up from 3. 5 for 6 to start, but 1 for 15 since. Not exactly the winning combination they were hoping for.
Now, I've noticed in the timeout here, Mitch McCarron, you mentioned there was a little bit of butting of heads in the timeout between Mitch McCarron and Matt Mooney. Now, it appears they're as far away as possible in this timeout from each other. Do we read anything into that, or am I being a little bit dramatic?
Well, when I said there was a little bit of a disagreement, let's be frank. It was mostly Matt Mooney having a disagreement with Mitch McCarron, who was trying to calm him down. Now I think certain players play at a higher temperature, and something tells me that the Breakers understand that that's the way Matt goes, and Mitch McCarron, being the good leader that he is given the space that he requires.
He's the Mooney whisperer.
The Mooney whisperer. Well, I'll tell you what, the officials have had their hands full over the last couple of weeks with Matt Mooney, and they've done a fantastic job, of course, letting a little bit of it go and understanding that he is a bit of a hothead at times. But look, he's entertainment personified. Matt Mooney, just the 3 points so far. But Karim Lopez with the 9 points for the Breakers, equal tide scorer up there with Mitch McCarron. Out of all the next stars, he just excites me so much because, and again, you can barely believe it when you're saying it, he has another year to go. This is merely a child playing a man's game, and boy, is he doing it well.
Yeah, Kareem Lopez is a basketball player. When I say that, I mean the fact that he just gets after the game. Like, he doesn't have a thing where I'm just happy to be here. I should defer to older guys. He just gets out there and plays. As far as he's concerned, this could be an under-23s game or an under-19s game. He just plays basketball.
We have a look at this right here, the Next Gen Award, all thanks to Champion. Who's in the mix here? Taron Armstrong, of course, he had an interrupted season. We hear about him all the time. Out of that lineup there, you'd have to say that Kareem Lopez and Alex Tui, the two next stars there, are probably the most exciting, and that is not an insult to the others on that list. There is going to be a lot of NBA games played amongst that group in the years to come.
Well, Benny Hitchell, too. I mean, he's out there pretending that he's a seasoned veteran the way he's going about his work. That's going to be a tough award.
Still just fixing some clock issues over there in New Plymouth. Of course, New Zealand likes to take this Breakers Roadshow all around the country as we look at the Mitsubishi Motors standings right now. Melbourne United sitting on the 14 wins. Right there, that is a live ladder. So if the game was called off, which it won't be, or it remains here and the Breakers can fight and win this one, you'll see them slip to third. So there's a lot on the line. You do not want to be going to Perth in a final series playing at RAC in front of that rabid crowd as we look at Melbourne's next 5 games. Away, 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 and then bye-bye tennis. Go home, Djokovic. See you, Kyrgios. It's Tasmania and Southeast Melbourne back at John Cain Arena, but that Illawarra, Perth, and Brisbane 3-game series is going to define the back end of their year.
Perth Wildcats are playing some good basketball. Christian Doolittle just comes back into the lineup. I mean, they just went all the way down to Tassie, had a little training run. They are in some really good form right now. And all they got to do is be in the top 4, just like they were last season.
You don't read too much into the positioning in the top 4?
Once you're in the top 4, it's wide open. Like the home court advantage, yes, that's kind of nice to have, but teams have shown they can go on the road and win. But if you're 5th or 6th, it's some real tough sledding to come from that far back. But you just want to be top 4. Home court advantage, obviously, more money comes through the door for the home games. You might have some extra playoff bonuses, whatnot. But as long as they're in the top 4, they're a puncher's chance.
We see New Zealand's next 5 games as well. It's a very tough proposition for them to sneak into the play-in. It's going to be out of their control in some elements, but to have any chance, they're going to have to win out Tasmania, Southeast Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Cairns. Look, Southeast Melbourne there is a very tough proposition, the way that they're playing basketball at the moment. But you know, you look at all those other games and you think there is a world that they could take those out. It's time to go to Casey Frank courtside. I'll tell you what, Case, I hope you're invoicing double because I have made you work during this delay.
Well, I've had a few words stored up, so I don't mind, Felix. I appreciate the opportunity. The issue seems to be that the shot clocks are not aligning with the game clocks. So they have brought in manual shot clocks that we can now see on the baseline behind the standards that will be viewable for the players, but not as easy to see as the ones that are on top of the screen. They're flashing now, they're synchronizing now, and it looks like we may have just got this technical gremlin sussed.
I'll tell you what, I've been referred to as a technical gremlin a couple of times. I'm happy you were referring to the shot clock in that one, Casey, but I'll tell you what, we were there when the shot clock went down in Cairns, and we're here again with shot clock issues here. This is happening in New Plymouth, Damon Larry. Imagine what would have been happening in Old Plymouth with the technology over there.
I've got a little tidbit about New Plymouth.
Oh, no.
Would you believe, Felix?
Don't get us banned.
2021, if you were living in Plymouth, New Zealand, you were living in the world's most livable city.
Surely.
Can you believe that?
Wow, well, I've never been. I've never been at all. And Kenny Widgeon, my man there, just sweating up a storm in the humidity over there. So clearly the weather's good at this time of year. But I definitely would have said most livable city. But sometimes when you get those lists, you know, there's a couple of cities that pop up. You know, some of these European ones where you go, oh, I don't know.
What cities have you been to outside of Auckland?
In New Zealand, no. Auckland, the last game that I did was the first time I've been to Auckland. I'll tell you what, beautiful place. We attended a dive bar, and they said they had a live band that was playing. I thought this will go to 1 a.m. maybe. These guys went to 3 a.m. and they played banger after banger, and I'll tell you what, it was one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life. But from that style of performance, it is time almost for us to get this one back underway. We are not far away. Again, we are slightly off half-time here. We were encroaching ever closer, and this one decided to happen right as we were about to go to that half-time break. But Damon, to get our minds tracked back onto the basketball, it's a 4-point lead for the Breakers right now.
Yeah.
What is New Zealand doing right now that is posing problems for United, or is United playing themselves out of this game?
Bit of both, but New Zealand is controlling the tempo. They're not running and gunning. They have only taken, how many threes? They've taken 11 threes, but most of those are kind of coming off of taco-related double teams. So they're getting themselves open. But they just being methodical in the half court, getting the ball inside, drawing fouls. It's hard for Melbourne United to kickstart their transition because they're taking the ball out of the net or they're taking it from the baseline.
The story going into halftime for Melbourne United will be the 3 fouls on Rob Lowe and the 3 fouls on Marcus Lee. And when you're dealing with a team that has Sam Menenga, Jonah Bolden, and the big 7'6" Taco Fall, they are guys that...
Come on, ref, give it to him, check ball.
We are ready to get back underway. We've covered every bit of conversation from dive bars to basketball, and we are back underway. Not far from halftime, 11 to 59 seconds.
And Batman just checked in. Alex McNaught, Batman / Harry Potter / The Flash. Checked in. At the point, he's picking up Shea Illy. Valuable minutes.
So a shot clock issue. We'll move those shot clocks just onto the baseline, out of our view. We'll do our best to keep you updated on them, but around about 25 or so seconds remain in this game, and Chris Goulding draws the foul from an undisciplined on that scenario, Sam Menenga.
Sam had no fouls up until that point. You don't want to go get yourself into the bonus. Calm down.
3 fouls on the New Zealand Breakers. Of course, Melbourne United in the bonus if they decide to commit an illegal again. Shea Illy pressured. Chris Goulding, 4 threes to his name so far. You get the feeling he'll step back on this one, and he does. And he cashes it, making 5 in the half for Chris Goulding.
You would think because Jonah's 6'11" that Chris can't shoot over that. But if Jonah's got his hands down by his knees, you might as well not even be standing there.
There is not on earth anything that Chris Goulding will not shoot over, and the Breakers will just roll this one out with a possession they can potentially want back. And they'll have the side out here. A 1-point lead.
Sorry, Felix. Melbourne United should consider themselves extremely fortunate to be only down by 1, considering they're shooting 31% from 3, considering they haven't been to the free throw line but 2 times. This is a good spot for them to be.
2 seconds remain. And that is going to be half-time. A first half that had it all. Chris Goulding knocks down 5 of them from the outside. The Breakers leading by 1. We had shot clock difficulty. We had it all. A hot first quarter scoring, Damon Lowry, and from then on, it was a bit of free throw battles. Taco Fall, the story for New Zealand with the amount of fouls he's drawn, and for Melbourne United, well, 4 fouls on Marcus Lee and 3 on Rob Lowe is going to make for a very interesting second half.
Well, that's what we want. We want a close, tight game.
Well, it's time to go back downstairs to Casey Frank.
Well, Kareem, the Breakers got off to a slow start, but were able to bounce back with a little bit of influence from yourself. How did things change up at that point?
Yeah, we just try and stay connected. We just try and, like, even if we don't start how we expected to, like, we just stay together and just fight our way back.
The United started 5 for 6 from the 3-point line, 1 for 15 or 2 for 16 from that point on. How do you stop that caliente start they had?
Well, it's just, as I said, being connected, being together. You know, they started hot, but like we just gotta get over screens and just contest their shots.
Gracias.
Gracias. A 1-point lead for the Breakers. Second half coming up next.
We're going to give them 3 chances. The Chiefs Hurricanes preseason at Yarrow Stadium, New Plymouth. Let's hear it for our winner, Spencer, ladies and gentlemen. Who's the leading down the back jump. And now it's time for our big city memory game. This is where we need you. You are the eyes, all right? We're putting down these cards. Our contestants, blindfolded, need to mix and match. But you remember where they are, all right? You remember.
Welcome back to New Plymouth. The New Zealand Breakers with a slim 1-point lead over Melbourne United. The man you just saw there, Taco Fall. Well, Melbourne United tasked with trying to stop him down low. They may be stopping his production, Damon Lowry, NBL legend, but they're certainly doing it in an interesting way because they are committing foul after foul. Marcus Lee with 4 fouls in this one. Rob Lowe with 3. It's going to be a very interesting second half for them.
It's a junky and clunky game, and it suits the New Zealand Breakers because they're controlling the tempo, going inside the big taco, and Melbourne United are literally running out of bodies.
1-point lead at the moment. It's the usual suspect as we go to our Hungry Jacks highlights. Chris Goulding. They were struggling when they didn't have him in the team. Now, their offense, there's a lot to be desired over the last couple of weeks, but he's got 5 triples in the first half.
Chris Goulding is hunting three-pointers, taking advantage of some very slack, poor scouting defense from the New Zealand Breakers. So, yeah, he's 5 of 9 from downtown, and Chris is the only avenue of scoring that I see at the moment. He's going to need some teammates to come along for the ride.
Certainly does. Melbourne United, they've gone to Alir on the bench. They are trying to find avenues to the basket and avenues to guard in the middle as we have a look at the Blackmore shot chart. 15 points, 5 of 9. 5 of 9 from the three-point line. He's yet to get in there in the middle, and it's been a tough free throw shooting game. Chris Goulding is usually a guy that can pull those figures up, Damon, but he hasn't been able to get there as of yet.
As a team, the whole team's only shot 2 free throws for the whole first half, so the big guys are obviously in foul trouble, so they can't go inside of those guys. And I'm looking at Jack White. Jack White is the one that's got to provide some interior scoring to help Chris out there on the perimeter.
Now, we could focus in on Melbourne United because there's a lot more at play for Melbourne United. They're sitting second on the ladder, but the New Zealand Breakers, for a team that has lost 13 of their last 15 and is very, very much struggling, they're bringing the fight here and they're doing a great job.
As they should. It sucks to lose. And you know it sucks even more? Losing a lot. So they are actually playing like this game actually means something because these guys are professionals and they have their pride. So right now, don't look at the standings. Don't look down there at the bottom of the 9th place because this team is trying to come out and get a win.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know what I hear on Twitter all the time? People say, where's Liam Santamaria? We want him back. We want Liam Santamaria back, and I'm with you there as well. We've got a big game coming up next. It is a double-header on Monday nights. The Adelaide 36ers taking on the top of the table Illawarra Hawks, and one for the purists, two of the best in the business. John Casey and Liam Santamaria to preview it for us.
Thanks, Felix. The Illawarra Hawks flying high on top of the ladder, but Adelaide has been their bogey team, beaten them twice this year. Liam Santamaria, how do you see it unfolding?
It's a massive game, Case. Massive. Adelaide desperately need this win. And Illawarra, look, a slip or two and top spot becomes up for grabs.
Great battle between the point guards. Trey Kell did great things here in Adelaide last season. Kendrick Davis might be doing even better.
Oh, it feels like every game there's an elite matchup somewhere, and it's at point guard tonight. Davis versus Kell is must watch.
So it's a big game. A lot of emotion around this as well. Daniel Johnson's singlet gets retired, and the bad passing of Daryl Pearce will be marked with respect as well. Hope you can join us next.
Well, the Breakers lead this one by a point at the major break. Plenty more to come. Plenty more storylines in this second half to play out. We'll be back to break it down with Casey Frank up next.
A double drag, away double.
Oh, Dean's he's amazing. He is one of the great coaches. We're true in the fact that he's not even close to done. He would have things that he wants to tick off and get done, and he's an immensely driven person to put in the work and go out there and try and achieve those goals for the club, for his players, and in turn himself.
Let's go, little 2 series right now. Let's keep this pretty simple though.
There's part of your mind feels like you're not slowing down, but I certainly not as active in player development anymore, and really ask a lot of our assistant coaches, and which they enjoy. And I can see, some of the older coaches, you step away a little bit from player development and even the X and O's a little bit. And just, the culture of your club is the most important thing to be able to drive. And, I think I've got some elite X and O's people around me, in my assistant coaches, and, they're driving the offense and defense. And I'm just trying to make sure that I drive culture, and I'm enjoying that leadership role, and also, just being that little bit of a mentor to these assistant coaches who are fantastic, and having the conversations with them to let them lead.
We're going to get TJ might be for IC, because IC's going to have to come back for Tanner.
Yeah.
Rather than getting Tanner, you're not going to go back to him maybe.
You're not going to play fun right now.
Good. I think that's the part of the journey and the legacy when I start to look at the coaching tree of people that have come through our club and how they've gone on and been successful in their coaching careers, and that's one that starts to age me a little bit.
Dean Vickerman, year in, year out, one of the best coaches in the league and one of the best culture builders in the league. For those who know what goes on behind the scenes there, he is a perennial contender for Coach of the Year. There's a couple more that might get him this year, but he's certainly leading this team and hopefully going to lead for their sake out of a rut. But let's go down to courtside to Casey Frank. It has been a wild first half off court. It's been a wild first half on court, Case. How are you seeing it?
Well, early in the game, the Melbourne United were able to impose their will on the game, playing with great pace while slowing the Breakers down. Breakers found a way to limit their three-point shooting on the perimeter while starting to get something going on the interior. In the second half, if the score sticks around 40 points, that's in the New Zealand Breakers' favor. They play one of the slower tempos in the league, we've mentioned many times. But if the United come out, get things going, it'll be more towards their game. And I'm looking for Rob Lowe. Even though he's got 4 fouls, I think he's a bit of kryptonite against Taco Fall. Get him out there, getting him shooting some three-point shots that night, just be able what you need to keep him from being so influential on the other side of the court.
Casey, with the Breakers sitting obviously 9th spot, they're not really realistically thinking they're going to make the finals. How much do you think is pride they're playing with, or are they just trying to spoil the party?
Well, I think first and foremost, pride. I've been on teams where you lose a lot of games. I went through a 10-game winning streak, and all you can think about is getting that next win. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you make the playoffs and you can finish on a high, and if you can come out, get a little bit of a grow going, then that makes you feel a little bit better. And don't forget, not everybody on this team has contracts next year, so you're still playing for that as well. If you can't play for team pride, at least pay for that personal paycheck.
Always thinking through your pocket, Case. Always thinking through your pocket. Thanks for your contribution. We'll speak to you a little bit later on. Damon Lowry, the big proposition for United right now. 4 fouls for Marcus Lee, 3 fouls for Rob Lowe. They're major front court contributors outside of Jack White are in serious foul trouble. How early do you get them properly involved in this game? Because Rob Lowe's going to start this half with the 3 fouls. But Marcus Lee, at what point do you think we'll see him re-enter the game?
Yeah, I think they might save Marcus until when Taco hits the floor. But obviously with Rob Lowe, they want to do a lot of picking and popping with Rob, see if he can get him going offensively. And somebody got to put a rocket up Jack White, remind him of who he is and what his potential is like. Because right now, even though they're only down by 1, they feel like they could definitely be playing better. They still need to play playoff basketball. The season is nearly over.
The New Zealand Breakers at New Plymouth, a road game at home, playing for pride and personal paycheck, according to Casey Frank and Melbourne United. Well, they drop down to 3rd if they lose this game. And in that top 4, you want home ground advantage when you get to the finals. Menenga, strong first half, looks to continue it in the start of the second and can't. Illy pushes the pace for United. Chris Goulding left wide open. That you do not do, because that is 6 triples on the night for CG43.
And I can see what Kareem Lopez was thinking. They got tangled up on the little ball screen, and Rob Lowe was open. So he said, I'm going to try to take away the 2. But guess what? Chris shooting those shots, they just like layups.
Major defensive breakdown there for the Breakers, and not the start that Pettery Coppinen wants, and the Breakers have hit a 2-point lead. Bolden looks to fire back. Can't complete. McCarron will fight for it. Bolden will come up with it. Pressure down low. McCarron takes middle. Lopez cashes it.
Kareem with his second true 3-ball of the game.
Jack White gets it in transition, loses it, comes back up with it. And the referee says you just can't do that. Loses the ball and then regains it before touching his feet back. Appeared to be a good call from the official.
And that's what Jack White needs to do. I mean, Bad defensive transition by the Breakers. Actually, they scored and still almost gave up a layup, but that's what Jack White needs to do to get himself involved.
Melbourne United will retain possession here. So we look at Lopez from the outside. Chris Goulding leads all scorers with 20 for the game, but Kareem Lopez, nearly a child with 12 of his own. And the Breakers come up with it. Mooney out in transition. Throws it upstairs to Menengo, who just ever so slightly cradles it in.
And thank you for not running straight to the three-point line, Sam. Get yourself an easy dunk.
9 points on the game for Sam Menenga, coming off one of his better games of the season. Last time out, Rob Lowe, as slow as you like, takes the left-hand drive, and the Breakers will strip it away. McCarron surveys. Gets it back from Lopez. Menenga likes his matchup here with Jack White. Goes to the middle, draws the foul, and cashes it in.
That is aggressive. Everybody slowed it right down. Let Sam establish post position. And Jack White, as good as he is as an athlete, you can't let Sam get onto his left hand. That's too easy. Right now, Jack White has played himself into a funk. This is what happens sometimes. You don't get off to an aggressive start in the game. Things not going your way. You start picking up some cheapy fouls. You miss some layups. Next thing you know, you're having a bad night.
Of course, Jack White's output has been hampered a little bit by an ongoing hamstring injury that he's been carrying over the last couple of weeks. So we may not be seeing the high-flying Jack White, but it's amazing and a credit to the player that he is, that he's still able to get that out there on the floor and put in the performances he does. Illy, far too easy. Through the paint as he just creeps ever so closer to that 2,000-point milestone.
Good job by Rob Lowe. Sealed the middle, opened up the lane for Shea.
Shot clock's back, game clock's back. We are flying in the second half. McCarron, nice little flick-back pass, was a little errant to Menenga. Gets it tipped away. Jonah Bolden comes back up with it. Takes it hard to the paint through the chest. Rob Lowe, and Rob Lowe wary of picking up that fourth foul. Didn't want much of it.
Wow, Jonah Bolden with the two-dribble pull-up. That is a part of his game, because normally he just settles for threes. He adds that, he becomes a major problem as Deli gets an easy layup.
Dellavedova ends a nice little run there for the Breakers. Mooney spins back, gets into the paint, finds Lopez with a hard foul from Shea Illy. And the officials have certainly taken a look at that. The Breakers just calming down their next stars. Don't get a little too rattled here, young fella. We'll take care of it.
Let's see. That's hand, some wrists, a little bit of ball maybe. Nothing untowards.
Appeared to look worse than it was in real time, but certainly going for the arms. The refs are going to take a look at that, Damon. Where do you sit? And I know
regular foul.
Well, the issue with you, Damon, is you could Goldberg spear someone at the free throw line, and you would say standard foul. So I may be embarking up the wrong tree with that one.
Just because Kareem fell awkwardly on purpose, I think, just to try to make it look like it's worse than what it was.
I think the young fella's not that veteran savvy just yet. I reckon 5 years from now, he might be able to ham it up a little bit. Regular foul, look. Shea Illy, of course, draws the ire of opposition fans. He's one of those players where you hate to play against him, but you certainly want him on your team. Just the regular foul there. Lopez will go to the line. Converts the first. 5-point lead to the Breakers. Kareem by 1 at the main break.
Sorry, Felix. Kareem brings his tally up to 13 points. These are great minutes for the youngster. 4 rebounds to go with it.
And Shea Illy cops one on the inbound play. Jonah Bolden goes upstairs and can't complete it with the Breakers. In what's been a circus of a possession, hold on to it. Menenga, can he convert from outside? He can!
What a
huge run for the New Zealand Breakers, 57-48, and he lets his teammates know about it.
What a wild sequence that was. Shea goes down, looked like he might have got hit in the eye.
Illy deep into the paint, gets another hard foul there from McCarron. There's a little bit of spice in this game. Melbourne United, they need it. And the Breakers, well, if they're playing for personal paychecks, they must be getting paid a bit because they are playing hard.
So you look at the Amy replay right here. That's pretty much a layup when he shoots it with confidence, feet set. And Shea goes up the other end and gets himself on the rim way too easy. Both teams are giving up a lot of layups. Matt Mooney saying, stop talking to the refs.
Yeah.
Get away, Sam.
I will say, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house there, Matt Mooney. I don't think that one's coming from the right person. As Shea Ili knocks down the first to eat into this lead, and Dean Vickerman, well, has a lot of problems to sort out right now, and not just this game. Melbourne United, after such a hot start to the season, have really hit the skids in the latter part. 7-point lead to the Breakers, a little under 7 remains in the third term. McCarron, guarded by Dellavedova, works off the screen. Menenga just hit one, turns that one down. And Shea Ili, being a pest as he always best does,
Rob
tips it away.
Lowe is playing a sneaky little drop. Kind of starts a little high, sags to kind of the, I guess, the level of the ball. So you don't give up that wide open 3-ball to Sam. He's clever about the way he does it.
Mooney, yet to really have an impact on this game.
Except that time.
Menenga, hard drive, pushes Goulding away. Can't complete. Breakers will fight for the board, and CG43 will come up with it. White can't handle the pass. Menenga will slip and hold on to it.
Jack is just out of sorts.
Jack White probably being forced to play through a little bit more injury than he would have hoped so, with foul trouble and the skid that United have been on. But right now they look a shell of their former selves.
I tell you, a clunky, sloppy kind of a game. It favors the Breakers.
And credit to New Zealand. As Casey Franco said, New Zealand, they slow the pace down. This is the style they play, and right now they are playing Melbourne United right into their trap. A very well-coached game from Petteri Koponen.
Melbourne United want to put a dent in this lead because in a minute or so, Taco's coming. And they're going to feature him inside, and the game is going to get even slower, and the foul count is likely going to go up again.
An interesting move there as Rob Lowe just gets a bit of blood on the jersey. Taco Fall yet to enter the game in this second half. He was the focal point of the offense, and I wondered whether those coaches' mics go two-way, Damon, and I think we've just worked out that they do, because we speak, and in comes Taco Fall to the game. Was drawing foul after foul in the first half. The New Zealand Breakers, over the last couple of weeks, appear to have just found, and maybe it's on Taco Fall himself, he's finally had a run of games without injury, but they've found a nice middle ground of how to work with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been here for a little while. He comes in because Sam Menenga, I think, might have some blood on him.
It is a bloodbath in New Plymouth. The second player, the third player actually to come out with blood on the jersey. Mooney still can't get himself into the game. He's been the focal point over the last couple of weeks, and amazing that the Breakers have a 7-point lead. Make that 4.
Now that right there is Melbourne United basketball. Get the stop, Shea Ili pushes it up, gets a wide open 3-ball in the corner.
Delhi harassing Mooney. He gets past it, gets into the paint, flips it out. Bolden turns down the look from the outside. Taco Fall. You can hear the Melbourne United bench counting out those seconds in the key. They won't get it that time, and Fall gives up a bunny.
Oh, he was in there. He was in there for a good 6 seconds.
Ili pulls up. Gets that to go. Back-to-back triples for United. And it's a 1-point game. A little over 5 remain. This one is a seesawing affair, and we got plenty of basketball to play.
Shea Ili once again. Matt Mooney went under his ball screen. Shea stops back and hits the 3-ball. Got the last bucket. He created that 3-ball the previous possession by pushing it in transition. I'm loving Shea's offensive game this season. Just making plays.
Certainly is Shea Ili, and Dean Vickerman said during the week that he was criminally underrated as we listen into his timeout.
And Mooney, all right? If there's a dribble up, you got to be able to pass that off and get back to Mooney. If that's you in this area.
On the pick and pop, they're trying to do the single side, but Mooney, I haven't been by. Hustling? No. Wade is doing a good job to get back, but it's still... On which one?
On the single side?
Yeah. On the single side.
I got to hold him up earlier, so I'm not this far. I'm going with him too much.
The double drag, he's got to hold him up, and then he's on that one.
I'm going with him too far. Hey, if he can squeeze it early, Macca can get it.
Stay in circles right now. The push is great.
United 3, 1, 2, 3. United.
Push is great. Keep going, Shell.
Dean's right. The push is great. We watched Shea Ili take advantage of the Matt Mooney bad defense on the ball screen. In the possession just before that, like I said, he just pushed it down the court in transition and just making plays. Between him and Deli, they know they need to up the tempo.
Certainly does, and it appears that, I believe the Dellavedova, Shea Ili was certainly behind the line. The Dellavedova three might have been adjusted here to a two-point shot, but
there he is.
Fails because Melbourne United are starting to make a charge here. Darling back into the ball game. Bolden, he can knock it down from outside, and he does right there. And a foul called down below. The bucket will be good as we head down to Casey Frank.
Well, an interesting tidbit from the Breakers coaching staff out of that one, as Taco foul checks into the game and the United pick up the pace, imploring the team to expect that activity from the opposition when Taco checks in. You know they're going to pick up the pace. You know they're going to push it. So the perimeter players have to do a better job of stopping that ball in transition and not letting them get up to speed.
100% Case. And Taco foul just drew that foul. That's his second.
Ili deep into the paint, finds Bowen. He's going to draw the foul there. As Bowen, of course, was sensationally blocked in that first quarter. Appears to have learned his lesson that time he went in the paint.
He remembered. He's evolving intellectually. Get around a big fella.
That's what happens with a young player. I'm sure Kyle Bowen hasn't had too much experience against a player the size of Taco, as most players haven't in the modern day game. Bowen hands off to Daly, who pulls the trigger. Can't get it to fall. Jonah Bolden will assume point guard duties for a dribble. McCarron finds Bairstow, who's been aggressive the last couple of weeks with PJC out of his team. Can't get that to fall. But he's certainly shown some good signs of development throughout this year. That one tips off the foot, will go uncalled. Plenty of time left on the shot clock. Ili deep into the paint. Gets around Taco 4. Nice wraparound pass is tipped off.
That's what Taco does. It's too crowded. Shea Ili makes that. He didn't want to shoot it because it was going to get thrown out. He tries to make a bounce pass, but Taco just still there. He just camped out. There's not a whole lot of space. And good job by Sean Bairstow getting in there.
Great job by Sean Bairstow just covering that gap. It's one of the first things taught in weak side basketball defense, but it's also one of the first things forgotten when you step foot onto the court. Melbourne United retain possession. Chris Goulding with a miracle attempt from the corner. Max Darling doing a good job of covering it.
Chris has got the ultimate green light, a big strobe light, and fair enough too, because they are struggling to score. And a Chris Goulding shot is just about their best offense.
20 points on the night so far for Chris Goulding, 6 triples. Darling. Taco 4 once again found low. Darling turns down the 3, uses his big body and gets into the paint, but it's tipped away by Krebs. And he'll be fouled.
So obviously, Melbourne United are not going to let Taco just play one-on-one. Fair enough. As soon as they're doubling on the catch, which I think is risky. Taco's passing it, though. He's not just trying to fight through. He kicks it back out. And then the guys got to rotate. Second and third rotation going to be huge for United.
New Zealand Breakers with a 5-point lead, a little under 4 minutes remain. Ili. Chris Goulding sizes up Bairstow. Finds Ili on the outside. Can't complete, and Taco 4 will pick it from above rim height. McCarron just slows down the pace. New Zealand with one of the slowest paces in the league. They're never in any rush to get their offense underway. Darling finds Taco down low. He goes upstairs. He's fouled. And a good job by Tanner Krebs to even get up to the heights to prevent a certain bucket.
There's got to be 4 fouls on Rob Lowe. This is just smart basketball by the Breakers. They bring everybody high. And Rob Lowe, you're just not going to block that shot. I don't even know why you tried it. Just give up the 2 and go up there and try to punish him on the other end. Dean's got to come with Alir. I think Alir's been the most effective. He's the most active that they have.
Alir did a good job when he came in early, and of course a player that doesn't really have to worry too much about burning his fouls as Taco knocks in the first. 6-point lead to the Breakers. 4 fouls, Rob Lowe, 4 fouls, Marcus Lee. Dean Vickerman, one of the best coaches in the league, is now tasked with how do I defend the big man in the middle without my usual pieces. And Jack White will tear down the board. An on-ball foul has prevented us a highlight.
Might have caught an illegal screen on Chris, or they caught a foul beforehand, before that Jack White alley-oop, because that's a good play.
The Breakers won't be too disappointed with the foul call there, preventing a certain bucket.
Chris wants the continuation, but that's smart. Jack White's trailing in transition, and everybody hugs Chris Goulding. Nice back pick.
Melbourne in the bonus. CG43 heads to the free throw line. He's been doing it all from outside. That's 21 points on the night. 6 of 11 from the field. Has found the fountain of youth this season. Every year we say, is this going to be the year that Chris Goulding slows down? And he's shown signs of it in the past. But he's put all the doubters to rest this season. And now with his leadership on this team, he's tasked with turning this thing around. It was heading in a fantastic direction not too long ago. And United, this win would go a long way to getting them back on track. The Breakers putting in a solid fight here, playing for pride. Fall a little far away from the basket that the Breakers would like.
See how nobody's moving? Nobody's cutting.
And a jump ball. Melbourne United, Aaliyah, the man who you said needed to get into the game to guard the big fella, does a good job of tying that one up.
They sent Deli down and gave the double straight away, but no, everybody else from the Breakers. Now this, you're going to get a foul, Aaliyah. You don't need to do that.
You look at the young
don't
fella
need to
here.
do that.
He is up for the challenge. Dean Vicken will love what he's seeing from the young recruit.
You got to be smart about it, though.
Death taxes and this referee player allotment arguing about there being contact down low on this inbound. We see it every game. The ref's doing a great job of officiating and making sure there's no contact down there. But right now, this is the most efficient baseline play in the league. Are the Breakers able to capitalize on this one?
That's a foul.
And they get it in, and a foul. A good call by the official. Manhandled under the rim.
Look, you're not going to block his shot. Taco can walk. Taco's just trying to walk.
And here we go, Chris Goulding and Taco Fall. Not a fight that I had on the bingo card, but certainly one that I'd be interested to watch.
Everybody's trying to fight for inches and centimeters.
Guys, and we're going to play dead ball games. We're going to play dead ball tactics.
Cue Al Pacino and any given Sunday, we fight for that inch.
The inches we need. And Kenny Widgeon just getting in there and letting them know, hey.
That's your 14th foul. He's not shooting. He got fouled on the inbound pass.
And just like that, Melbourne United are in the bonus. 4 fouls.
Very confident, just bringing Taco Fall out of the game, which is an interesting move. All things considered with how much it's been paying dividends down there.
Don't mind it. He's got 3 fouls. They still got the size advantage.
And
terrible
United
pass by Matt
finally
Mooney.
tip it off after 3 attempts at it. Clark finds Jack White on the outside. That won't fall. Menenga back into the game, pulls it down. The Breakers with a 4-point lead in what's been a seesawing affair that held the lead for this entire quarter. And Mooney, he's up to 5 for the game, still looking to really break out. The 6 assists he's been distributing. But if he can trouble the scorers to the back end, and especially in this 4th quarter, it'll go a long way for the Breakers. CG43, fake up, cut through, can't complete.
Great job running CG off the 3-point line. Still a shot he can make.
Mooney, can he get himself going? Works on Aaliyah, deep into the paint. He's going to find the next star on the outside.
Oh.
Take the next star label off. He's a superstar already. Karim Lopez knocks it down.
Tres más for mi amigo.
Gracias.
Karim Lopez up to 17 points. Shooting 100% from deep. Shooting with all the confidence in the world. Jack White helped off for no real reason and paid the price.
I'm going to need a birth certificate on this man because 17 years old, I refuse to believe it. Damon Lowry. Just the way he's playing. If he was playing this way next year, I believe he'd be up there with a lottery pick in the draft, and he's doing this with another year to come. So while it's been a tough season for the Breakers, the silver lining for Breakers fans is you're getting this guy back again next year.
Yep, you're going to see him in New Plymouth, Old Plymouth. 17 years of age. Yep, there wasn't even a three-point line when I was 17.
That's a long time ago. Damon Lopez, a superstar in this league, and he's had some games this year, and he's having one right now. 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field. He's doing a fantastic job.
Confidence is a beautiful thing. You got a 17-year-old playing with all the confidence in the world from deep. And on the other end, you got Jack White, who's 0 for 4 from the three-point line. Melbourne United got their hands full at the moment. Where do they go for offense?
66 to 57, a little under 2 remain. A lot on the line for Melbourne. They're playing. They'll be in the finals. As Chris Goulding gets it to go from the outside. You said they need offense. That is where they go.
Man, Mooney, you can't be serious, man. You ain't serious about winning if you're going under any action with Chris Goulding. Chris will make you pay.
Mooney pivoting, stuck down low, harassed by Dellavedova. Lopez spins back, throws it up and draws the foul. Chris Goulding irate with the call. But when you got it going, you got it going for Karim Lopez.
Let's just see. Let's see if Chris is justified in his reaction. He leaned in. I mean, I guess by the book it's a foul, but a little bit delicate. Either way, Kareem is at the line, about to bring up his 19th point. You know how you say 19 in Spanish?
Gracias.
No, 19.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It's a lesson. You know how to say United without saying the United?
Actually, I do. Estados. Estados. Actually, I do.
NBL legend Damon Lowry, Felix von Holt taking you through this one. 8-point lead to the Breakers. They're playing for pride, but they're certainly doing it well. As Chris Goulding draws a foul.
Grant Antisevich has been in there for a couple of minutes, and Chris is obvious. Chris is a tough cover, but an aggressive Chris is extremely tough. So Chris, he's going to try to draw fouls, get himself to the line. You got to respect all of his movements because he'll shoot it off one leg, off balance, doesn't matter. Now foul discipline for both teams becomes high priority.
26 points on the night for Chris Goulding. 11 points for Shea Ili, the only other in double figures right now for United. He's carrying this group and he's keeping them in this ball game as New Zealand have just continuously tried to pull away.
Now here's the interesting thing about Chris Goulding, who brings up, like you say, his 27th point. Chris only averages 27 minutes a game. He's at 24 minutes right now. I'm sure somebody on that Melbourne United staff is letting Dean know that Chris probably got about 3 minutes left. If I'm Dean, Chris plays the entire fourth quarter. Chris can go for 40. He's your best avenue for buckets. You cannot get cute with his minutes in this last quarter.
Certainly that stage of the season where wins are paramount above all else, and you'd expect that Chris Goulding just might exceed his average minutes in this one. Downley doing a good job defending Mooney. Menenga gets the match up on a layer, goes straight into the paint. Gets the and one on the way through, and Sam Menenga over the last 2 games has found himself again.
He certainly has. The aggression and catch a leer. This is the 3rd time you bodied him up and he spun off you. You need to learn from previous mistakes. Sam is taking advantage of your lack of attention for detail to my scoring package.
Sam Menenga playing his 50th game as well. Such a force when he's on. Incredibly athletic. 17 points to 4 rebounds tonight. Make that 18. And the Breakers back out to a 9-point lead. Of course, we are going regional in this one. A couple of issues with the clock over there at New Plymouth, so we'll keep you updated as Chris Goulding fires from the outside. Can't get the miracle Pereira to fall.
One of United's patented plays, a little bit of a misdirection. Chris comes back off the screen. They dodged the bullet on that one.
Mooney. 30 seconds remain. They look to Menenga once more. 20 seconds on the clock. Straight through the chest. Can't finish. 15 seconds. Chris Goulding will take it the opposite direction. 10 seconds. The shot clock is off. 9-point lead. Can United salvage at the end? Chris Goulding gets in, cut complete. New Zealand will get one last prayer, and it's close, but it's no good from Mitch McCarron. But the New Zealand Breakers, they led by 1 at the main break. They've pushed it out. They lead by 9. They are playing for pride. In the words of Casey Frank, personal paychecks. And Melbourne United, well, if you want to be playing at home in late February basketball, you got to get going in this fourth quarter. Plenty more coming up next.
Look at the score. NBL25 71, Melbourne 62, 9 points going into the final quarter. But don't worry about that. Worry about us. It's our time. It's our home team. This is your NBL25.
It is all the New Zealand Breakers at New Plymouth. I may as well give Birdman a jersey right now, because anyone who's out there, it's working. Menenga upstairs, he's gone there a couple of times, and Lopez, well, he's starting to get himself in a rare area. He already holds the record for the most points by a 17-year-old in the 40-minute era, but he's certainly verging into all-time territory. Shane Heal holds the record with 35, 29, and 26 points. Way ago.
As a 17-year-old? Hammer went for 35.
Had some big games, man. Hammer was, people forget how good Shane Heal was.
Oh, no, I don't know.
You know, we may not see him around the track.
I remember.
He ain't a social media guy, but my man Shane Heal, he was a hooper. And every time you open those record books, you are sure to see the peroxide man as Marcus Lee goes upstairs. Shane Heal's name is written all throughout basketball history books in this country.
Spanish action, nice little back pick. I didn't think Dean was going to go back with Marcus Lee, but he did, and he got himself a nice dunk off that action.
Melbourne United looking to eat into this small lead.
There's the gap. About time. That is so open. The way they defended Taco Fall, everybody just came in on the three-point line watching. You still got to cut. The key is wide open in a lot of instances.
Back out to a 9-point lead. Dellavedova loses it on the way through with a nice little swipe from the wily veteran in McCarron.
Mitch McCarron is having a hell of a game.
And you want to know the importance of this game right now. Melbourne United in the regular ladder, they sit second. If they drop this game, due to percentage, they drop all the way to fourth. And you know what that means? You got to go all the way to the sandpit to take on Justin Tatum and the Hawks. Now, there's plenty more basketball to play throughout the year, but it just shows the parity of this league, top to bottom. One loss can drop you down 2 places in the ladder, and Dean Vickerman knows that all too well.
Percentages was always going to rear its ugly head. It was only a matter of time.
Breakers looking to spoil the party. Mooney pulls up from deep. Can't get it to go. Taco Fall too big down there. McCarron. Once again, Taco Fall doubled on the low block. New Zealand can't take advantage of the double team, and United will take it away. Nice pass from Dellavedova. Gets it to Jack White. He's not happy with a little bit of overzealous contact. He's going to go to the free throw line.
Mitch McCarron's only blemish on this game is only 1 turnover. Mitch has got the 9 points, the 5 assists. And right now, Melbourne United are junking up, going to that little zone. It's very easy to just settle for threes when you see a team go zone. But if they're patient and flash to those open areas in the middle, they can get easy buckets.
Jack White unconvincingly knocks in the first one there, but the double teaming of Taco Fall, while they haven't exactly taken a lead in this game, New Zealand haven't really found a way to punish it too much. They've been scoring in transition, they've been finding a way to score the ball, but when we talk about these double teams, you know, New Zealand haven't scored directly out of the double.
It's because they're standing around in the perimeter too much watching. But Grant Antisevich on the last possession, he's getting subbed out now. But hopefully, I'm sure the Petri Coppin would have mentioned that to him. Taco's going to draw a double every single time. Have a look inside. Have him flash to those open areas.
6-point lead to the Breakers. Whittled down from 9 by Melbourne United early going in this term.
Same exact play. Here comes the double.
Ball draws the double. Can the Breakers find a way to punish it? Bairstow. Great defense from United, just trapping it on the outside. Jack White, the Breakers forced into a prayer, but Taco Fall, he misses the easy dunk. Goulding takes it away. Taco Fall with the easiest of putbacks. Can't complete. Dinner was served. All you had to do was stick your fork in it, Damon.
Yeah, he's not a high flyer, Taco. He's a high stretcher, but not a high flyer.
Certainly some people
still should have made that one.
Limbs that mean you don't have to. Straight upstairs, great job by Jack White over the top to swat it away.
Marcus Lee got away with a fistful of jersey.
Marcus Lee's got to be careful. 4 fouls for both him and Rob Lowe. Key pieces in United's plan to keep Taco Fall out of the middle and deflect any shots. Bairstow. Gets it to McCarron. Mooney fights his way into the paint. Marcus Lee does a good job to deter him. And Shea Ili will push the pace in the opposite direction.
There you go.
Straight through Bolton, gets upstairs. He'll draw the foul. Taco Fall was waiting for it.
This is the beauty of Shea Ili. Shea pushes that ball in transition off of a miss as good as anybody. Bad defensive transition. And bad offense by the Breakers. Taco's drawing a double. So now, because that offense is so bad when they draw that double, Petri Coppin said, you know what, forget it. Taco, sit down. We can't play standing around just watching. And I don't know what it's like to play the guy this size. I guess you just can't help but just watch it like it's a movie. The guy's got to cut and get involved.
When the game heats up, stay Coors cold. You can watch the Super Bowl right here on ESPN. I'll tell you what, a couple of Coors in the hands, Damon would not go astray, especially in this humid weather. Petri Coppin might need one after the game if the Breakers can't hold on to this one as well. Of course, coming up next, Adelaide versus Illawarra. The 36ers, can they bounce back from that horror performance against Tasmania and the Hawks? Well, they'll like what they're seeing here because Melbourne United, they're a threat up there near the top, and they'll certainly love to see them push further down the ladder. McCarron, lead down to 5. And 3 seconds in the key, and Damon, if you can believe it, the first 3-second call was not called on Taco Fall.
And called on Jonah Bolden, who rarely post up like that. But the offenses, they take them too long. Mitch McCarron got to get into the offense a lot quicker than what he's doing right now. I get playing with a slow tempo, but your offense is just, it's getting bogged down.
Dellavedova. United have cut the lead from 9 to 5 in the first 3 minutes of this final term. Chris Goulding, can he cut it even further? He can! 7 triples for the game for Chris Goulding. He's got 30. Daly pushed off by Matt Mooney. The Breakers need to find a way to regain control of this game, and they ain't going to do it, throwing the ball out of bounds. Melbourne United have wrestled back all momentum as we look at the aiming replay.
Look at his hands. Sam Meninga is worried about Chris's dribble. He got his hands down. Chris just raises up. You could be 8 feet tall. If your hands are down, you might as well be invisible.
One of the most frustrating players in the world to coach against, Chris Goulding. Can't get himself open that time. They'll find Jack White, who goes one-on-one with Jonah Bolden. Well defended by Bolden. Great pass from Dellavedova. Finds White, who blows the layup, and he'll get it back. And converts it. We are tied up at 73 apiece, in the words of Leonard Copeland. We got ourselves a ball game.
You shouldn't have said that. But yes, you're right. You're 100% right. Melbourne United just finding ways in transition, offensive rebounds.
Meninga guarded by Lee, who's sitting on 4 fouls. Mooney, can they stem the bleeding? They can't. They'll regain possession. The Breakers in ever need of a bucket to slow this United roll down. The new Plymouth crowd has been loving what they see the Breakers. They go all around the country for their home games. And an easy inbounds play right there for Jonah Bolden.
Another back pick. No communication. Poor switch. Gets Jonah an easy layup.
Gets himself into double figures, Jonah Bolden. Dellavedova. Illy, guarded by McCarron. They're fighting to find Chris Goulding, who's been the hot hand. Gives it up to Illy, who crosses up, gets up, almost could have gone upstairs. Takes the easy option.
The amount of layups that Shaylee can get, not only in transition, but in the half court, just determined.
Locked at 75 apiece, the easiest look for Mooney all night, and he converts it. Back out to 3, a little over 5 remaining. CG 43, can he make it? He can't.
Dodged the bullet.
He hasn't been able to convert on a couple of those heat checks so far that would have sent a shiver down the spine of Pettery, Confident and the Breakers. McCarron. Bolden. McCarron pulls one heavily guarded from the outside. Jack White will tear it down.
Everything perimeter-based. You don't want to turn this into a three-point shooting contest.
Dellavedova works his way to the middle. Shea Illy disrespected on the three-point line and proves them right. Mooney. Crosses back, finds Meninga wide open on the three-point line. That one's no good.
It's a three-point shooting contest.
And Shea Illy will push the pace. Great defense by Jonah Bolden to snatch it back. And the Breakers are out the other way. Lopez just shows calm beyond his years there to pull that one up.
Jonah got Shea Illy on him. There's your mismatch.
Mooney guarded by Daly. Steps back into the three-point shot. Can't complete. They've just struggled, and a rebounding foul is called there.
Jonah's got Shea Illy on him, and he just casually strolls out to the corner for the three-point line. And this was Shea doing in transition. Great block by Jonah.
Beautiful poise from Jonah Bolden to resist the foul and just claw that one back.
Great timeout. They got to talk about it, because we can't have this three-point shooting contest going on.
78-75. And you know what we need? What do we need? We need our home court advantage. So we've got the loudest stand. Who's louder?
78-75. Dean Vickerman, we saw before we brought up the Mitsubishi Motors standings, Damon Lowry, that they fall all the way to 4th with a lot here. Now, there's a lot of basketball to play. There's 5 games left. But you do not want to be dropping games for teams that don't necessarily have a huge amount to play for.
That's right. And it's going to be hard for Melbourne United to rack up percentage points because they don't score enough points themselves. And Chris Goulding has been out in this fourth quarter for the whole quarter so far. He's got a 30-piece already. Even though Jack White isn't scoring, he's still got the 12 rebounds, which are extremely important.
Chris Goulding, 30 points, having himself a night. Chris Goulding, 30 points on the night. He's the leader of this Melbourne United team, and he has been for a long time, and he is tasked with turning around, and he's doing his darndest to do just that. Guarded well by Bairstow. 8 triples on the game so far. Finds Rob Lowe with a great pass down low, and the wily veteran just pivots around and puts it in a 1-point game.
I still would rather that than Chris, who's hit 8 threes already, just teeing off.
Ian Clark into the ball game. Mooney pulls up the deep fadeaway, and there's contact, and he'll go to the line. Dellavedova with the coach killer.
That is a tough pull-up. Haven't seen Ian Clark for quite a while. Dean's coming with him late in the game. He trusts his scoring ability down the stretch. With his foul discipline, there's literally no room for error for either team right now.
Not at all. Matt Mooney has certainly been able to get himself somewhat going in this second half after a 3-point first half. We're given a shooter that is as confidence-driven as Matt Mooney. 3 easy ones from the stripe. Damon may come to bite them in this final 3 minutes and 45 seconds, but the Adelaide 36ers taken on the top of the table. Illawarra Hawks not far away at the conclusion of this game. Liam Santa Maria, John Casey, it's all happening. We've got the veterans out there. Some of the best minds in the NBL to take you through that one. And the Adelaide 36ers, well, they need to bounce back, and the Illawarra Hawks, can they get an easy kill in that one with a team that's starting to splinter a little bit? But let's go courtside here to Casey Frank.
Well, in that last time out, Felix, Shea Illy was absolutely toast. Had to get the sub out. Dean Vickerman wanted 1 more minute. He couldn't do it. As we see the beautiful backdoor from Chris Goulding for 2. But he decided to he asked for Dellavedova, get on Matt Mooney, make it hard for him. First play out, Mooney gets the foul. Goes against what Coach was looking for.
Certainly won't be happy with that play on that end, but as you just said, the silky smooth back cut there from CG43 will have him smiling ear to ear. Mooney. The Breakers still lead by 2, but you can't help think the momentum is with United as Jack White swats that one away.
Transition D, you gotta find him.
Ian Clark can't complete, but the offense will come up with the offensive rebound. And Dellavedova will cop one in the chops that he's not happy about.
These are the little things. You want to win a game of basketball, you want to win a close game, you got to take away transition layups, you got to take away offensive rebounds. And Shea, that's long enough. That's long enough. That's a minute. Get back in there.
It's a minute longer than you would have allowed.
This whole absolute toast, he's a little bit of toast. He ain't absolute toast. He's got more in him.
And right now, we've spoken time and time again. 3 minutes remain here. Melbourne United with a lot more to play for. In the status of the season than the Breakers. Are they able to just dig that little bit deeper? Or are the Breakers just playing free, fun basketball? Going to snake this one away and maybe send Melbourne United in the direction of an Adelaide 36ers crisis meeting. Goulding again found by Daly, cutting through. He can do it from the outside. He can snake his way in.
Chris isn't just a 3-point shooter, even though that's the best part of his game. He's a scorer. And he reads how the defense is guarding him. Good action on that out-of-bounds play. I don't know if he got body slammed to the ground like that, but nevertheless, he's at the stripe to tie this thing up.
Well, the Breakers led by 9. The final siren of that third term. And Melbourne United have a chance to tie it up here as they've just continued to eat into this lead. They haven't really been able to get much further than that, Damon.
Chris is 3 minutes away from playing an entire quarter. 10-minute quarter. Imagine if he averaged 30 minutes a game.
Looking like we're in an aircraft hangar when you look in the background there. New Plymouth, the Breakers taking this one on the road at home. Can they do it for their regional fans? McCarron works off the Menenga on ball. Can he find him on the roll? He can. And Menenga will go around, can't finish. 2 minutes 30. United with everything to play for. Dellavedova controls the pace, likes the matchup with Menenga, sizes him up, finds CG43 for his 9th triple, bang! He gets it to go! CG43 has answered the call for Melbourne United and keeping their top 2 chances alive.
Oldest trick in the book. The old Deli handoff play. Just dribble to Chris and hand it to him. That's the play. And Sam Meninga was late on it. And when you late, you pay the price. CG brings up his 9th three-pointer, 9 of 16 from downtown. That's outlandish.
9 of 16 from outside, and those have been following the Mitsubishi Motors three-point tracker throughout the season. Chris Goulding might be getting himself out to a nice little lead that'll be very, very hard to catch. Dean Vickerman, well, you know what? The escape chute. The parachute, almost. You're falling out of the plane. United are in a tailspin. Who do they call upon to get him out of it? They rip the emergency cord, and it's Chris Goulding with 37 points on the road, and they've finally taken the lead.
Chris is, I mean, that's just defensive breakdowns. Chris has been on the floor for 32 minutes, and he is a three-point shot hunter. Defense got to be switched on, just like if you was guarding Bryce Cotton. You got to know where he is at all times. He will never turn down a wide-open shot. Look at this black, good Lord, about to have a seizure looking at this, all them X's and O's, greens and reds.
I'm not sure that's what brings it on. I believe it's flashing lights. We'll roll with the Blackmore shot chart for now. But Chris Goulding, you said any daylight, Damon. It doesn't matter. Any daylight. And right now it is up to the New Zealand Breakers to answer back. Taco Fall back into the game. And again, he draws a foul.
So Petrie Coppin decided, okay, we've blown the lead. Can we get ourselves to the foul line with the one-man fouling feast of a guy? So, yep, this is where it starts.
He has drawn his fair share of fouls. The energy and the atmosphere in that venue is palpable. Casey Frank, what's happening down there?
Well, the Breakers came out and executed exactly what Petrie Coppin wanted them to do. He wanted that flex cut off Taco Fall looking into the post, but they expected the double come. They were looking 3 on the weak side. Instead, the foul comes in. From the Melbourne United, I might foul Taco Fall a few more times. Hasn't been exactly great from the free throw line today.
Rob Lowe will take no further part in the ball game here as Mooney looks to answer back through CG 43, and he does!
That is huge!
Huge answer back from Matt Mooney, and we said those free throws, those 3 free throws might come back to bite you. Does Matt Mooney have his eye in this final 2 minutes? Chris Goulding, can he make it 10 from outside? He can't. Taco Fall will rein it in. The Breakers got a chance to wrestle the lead back.
And Mooney shot that with so much confidence, considering he was 1 for 8 from downtown. He dodged the bullet that time, though, not being attached to Chris.
Taco draws the double again. He gets Chris Goulding off him with a shove. Mooney gets into the paint, shakes, bakes, cooks him. 2-point lead to the Breakers, 1:30 remain. 16 points after a 3-point first half from Matt Mooney. Jack White upstairs to answer back. The pass from Shea Ely on the dime.
The back pick from Chris Goulding. No communication.
End-to-end basketball right now in New Plymouth. Taco Fall doubled again. He puts the elbow out and an offensive foul.
Yep, Chris, very aggressive hard double.
You couldn't help but think it was coming. There was a couple of possessions there where it was close. We know right now when it goes down to Taco, it's either going one way. It's going to be a foul on Melbourne or it's an offensive foul the other way because they are doubling hard.
You got to make quicker decisions. That ball comes to you, got to get it out quick or post up deeper.
Everything on offer from Melbourne United. Can Chris Goulding another opportunity to make it 10? He turns it down. Gets it in the mid-range. Taco Fall says no, but the official says no even more. A goaltending call that Taco is irate with.
Got there too late.
And this one will be reviewed as per the final 2-minute rules. And I'll tell you what, it does not get closer than that. The original decision is a goaltend, so that'll be the one that's fallen back on. And I'm sure Scott Butler and his team of officials are working hard. You spoke about Al Pacino in inches. That wouldn't have even been inches there.
Would you go with a hack attack right now? Foul Taco Fall.
I reckon you play it out, mano y mano.
Who's 2 of 8 from the foul line.
50 seconds remain. Apologies for the shot clock issues on venue as Marcus Lee sends it away.
Marcus gets there early.
44 seconds remain. We got highlight plays on either end to finish this game out. The break is playing for pride. Petteri Koppinen screaming his heart out. This inbounds play has been a troublesome one for United for the entire game. Of course, 7'6", you throw him right there in the middle. It should be an easy task to just pop it over the top. 44 seconds remain. Bolden. 2-point lead to Melbourne United. Taco Fall down low. The double comes late.
Too late.
Chris Goulding snaps it away. And in no rush. 38 seconds on the clock.
Don't need to foul.
Plenty of time. As Damon said, no need to foul. The Breakers will play this one out legitimately.
Great job by Chris Goulding getting in the lane.
20 seconds. CG 43 with 37 points. Can he make it 40? He can't, and Taco will come up with it. 15 seconds remain. The Breakers will get one chance to win it.
Go for the win.
Lead to Melbourne. Matt Mooney outside. Cash it. The Breakers are up by one.
The Minerals. Matt Mooney in the Minerals.
This is our house. New Plymouth. Matt Mooney. 4.7 seconds remain. Melbourne United. They did it against the Sydney Kings. Can they do it at the death? Back to back.
We are not going overtime, says Matt Mooney. I'm going for the win, at least the lead. They got to defend his last 4 seconds, though.
Matt Mooney was having himself an off night from the three-point line. Melbourne United fouled him about the 2 minutes and 50 mark. He went to the line. 3 free throws. He gets his eye in, and he's hit 2 triples since then, and the biggest of them right then. 4.7 seconds remain. We're going to push that back to 5.1. United, just as they did against the Kings, can they repeat? Dean Vickerman, well, he drew up a fantastic play to win that game against the Kings, albeit a defensive breakdown from them.
New Zealand Breakers have no fouls to give. They've got to play straight up.
Melbourne United can fall from second to fourth on the ladder if they cannot find an avenue to victory here. And for the Breakers, well, as we've said multiple times, they're playing for pride. And I'll tell you what, the New Plymouth crowd will certainly be happy with the performance that they've put in tonight.
What is the go-to play to go for the win? Inbounding this ball from the sideline. They got to go to Chris, who's on 39 points. Would they run some type of misdirection? Would they use Chris as a decoy? I wouldn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way that they're setting up right now looks very, very similar to the way that they set up against the Sydney Kings. 5.1 seconds. Melbourne United, one last chance. Jack White gets it up top. CG 43, 37 on the night. Make that 40! Melbourne United lead by 2!
Wow.
Wow! 0.6 seconds on the clock. Melbourne United with all to play for in New Plymouth. Chris Goulding, take a bow, 42 points.
The same exact play. It took him a while to get to it. Jonah Bolden got caught late. And the hottest man in New Zealand brings up his 10th three-pointer.
0.9 will be put back on the clock. Chris Goulding has done it time and time again, and he's done it right now.
How do you just not sell all the way out on Chris?
I think you're being harsh there, Damon.
How do you not sell all the way out?
That was a tough shot.
Yeah, of course it was a tough shot. I'm just saying. Who else did you think was going to shoot it? Chris has played, there's got to be a record for the season, 35 minutes. Imagine if he averaged more than the 27 minutes he's averaging right now in the season. We can see game. He ain't going to hit 10 threes every game. He going to hit 5 to 6.
10 from 19 from the three-point line. Chris Goulding take a bow. Could this be back-to-back games that Melbourne United have stolen them at the death? New Zealand with 0.9 seconds on the clock. We're having some clock issues.
There's got to be a lot to
New
talk
Plymouth on the ground.
You don't have time for nothing else.
0.9 on the clock. Sean Bairstow to inbound. Mooney, one chance at it. Can't get it to go, and Melbourne United yet again just find a way. Back-to-back wins at the death of the same play. They may have found a different result and a different avenue, but Dean Vickerman, he's found a way to draw up something special at the death again to get it done. No prizes for guessing your Foot Locker player of the game. 42 points, 13 to 24 from the field. As Petteri Koppinen, you know what, sometimes it may be heartbreaking in a loss, but you cannot help recognize greatness and just smile there.
Well-deserved, Chris Goulding. This is why he is who he is.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're cutting to a break, and we will break it all down on the other side.